what's up, Scott Balkan here with Imagination Creation Films, and today it is Friday. That's right, Friday. It's that day that ends in Y that comes after the other day that ends in Y, pretty much, I guess, all of the days that end in Y. That means it's time for a live stream, and it is February the 3rd, 2023. So for those of you who use my live streams to keep track of your calendar, now you can advance your calendar to the next thing. And we got a cool show today. We got special guests out there. We have the folks from Mutiny here to talk about accessories and things and stuff. And maybe somebody from Global Dynamics United, maybe not. You never know. You know how people are. They in and out. But let's just jump right in and bring in Avery and Mike and have them say hello. Introduce yourselves.
I'm Mike. Mike Sutton from Mutiny, co-owner of the company with this guy.
Avery, engineer, co-owner.
The engineer. He's the engineer, capital T.
Yeah, I'm not a real engineer. I just play one on TV.
And so we're just chatting today, and then like if anybody has questions about any of the things that Mutiny makes, feel free to ask them. If you are interested in anything generic, whatever. And then I think at some point Mike might be talking about some cool stuff, and you know, I mean, it's a kind of a relaxed live stream. So I mean, you want to start off with anything, Mike, or just kind of introduce everything about Mutiny?
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be just about our stuff. I mean, people just have questions in general.
Yeah.
I know like 12G SDI is a big thing, obviously, and all the groups and stuff like that. And, you know, if there's questions on anything we make, obviously, we'll do our best to answer that. But how do we see their questions? Sorry, I didn't get briefed on this part. So
I will post them down below, and
okay.
If you wait, I will read them off. I'll read them off so that they can be on a podcast later for audio. So you should see the questions on the right. Do you not?
I do now. Yeah, I see. Hi, everyone.
Yes. Hi, everyone from Luca. Hello, Luca. Luca's always available. There's people joining in. We have people Facebook and YouTube and all over the place. So it takes a while to just kind of to get people warmed up. I will take a moment and just chit chat for a bit. So next week I won't have a live stream. So you get your fill this week. That's why there's a 3-for right now. It's 3 for 1. And yeah, I might actually be live on Friday. You never know. It's what it is. And then, which I'm very grateful for work. I love work. I like to do it all the time, and that's good. How are you guys faring up north in the northeast, weather-wise?
Well, it's
fun.
Going to be -15 tonight, so. Yeah,
we were with the little things.
It's going to jump to like 46 degrees or something. So that's the way it's been.
We hit like 29. Entire state of Texas shut down.
Wow.
Basically, it was covered in ice everywhere, but I mean, it's Texas.
Yeah.
So we don't have snow plows.
It's true.
Let's see here.
Actually, a lot of us
guys are wanting
up here retired, so because there wasn't that much snow the past couple of years up here. So yeah.
Here's a question for you. Much respect. I was wondering if it's possible to have a DSMC3 side handle for Komodo and Raptor with joystick and start and stop and custom buttons.
Well, I can't really talk about that. Of course, it's possible, but I can't really discuss that yet. And I haven't even told him all the stuff I found out today.
Everybody's like, what?
Yeah, we have a conversation to have. But yeah, it's very, very doable. I'll put it that way. But I can't give any kind of like time frame or specific details about it. But,
I remember Jared talking about, I think it's also Komodo, but like V-RAPTOR has Bluetooth in there, and I think Komodo does too. Is that right? I think he said it on the live stream, so it's not. I don't think it's maybe. Well, you may not be allowed to comment, but I'm pretty sure he said that.
yeah, I can't really comment, but I can say it will be wireless.
I know Wi-Fi is definitely there. There's a lot of cool things that they had stashed in these cameras that he just like every once in a while it's like, oh, by the way, you could do that. What? Lucas says, okay, we'll wait.
Yeah, unfortunately,
where's everybody
a lot of projects in the pipeline, but it's on the list. I could put it that way. Yeah, that's what I'm allowed to say.
I mean, there's. Everybody say hello. Oh, there's a lag on audio. Okay, how bad is it? Me again? Because like it loves to do that to me. Let's switch. And one clap. How's that? Is that better? It was doing this last time, and I don't know if it was my Starlink or what. Or is their audio in sync, Kimmel? Kamel. I think that's what it was. Yeah, it happens all the time. I was doing it with Shane as well. Let's see, not in sync. I'm more of a Backstreet Boy than an in sync guy, but I don't know how to fix that. I think it will actually correct itself. We've got Dave Williams. Hello. There's a bunch of people out there. They all have to say hello. Tell everybody who's out there. This is also weird. There's colors. I've never seen that before. So YouTube now has colors for people. I don't know what that means. Luca is like a bright pink, and Kamel is like a brown. David is a brown. Reach is a brown. There we go. Now we're getting people coming in. Happy Friday. Hey, Frank. Got Kevin. Oh, yeah. People are starting to say hello. There we go. Now takes a while for the steam to get flowing. Ah, Mikael. Hey. That's a guy, dude. He loves I just disappear. Right. You'll see me vanish. That's my Starlink. Like I said, when that happens, just keep on chatting. No problem at all.
Okay.
Hello from Paris. How many products do you have right now that you're making that you have publicly available for sale right now? What?
Oh boy, I don't even know if we've ever counted them. We're constantly putting out usually something every other week, even if it's something silly like we just put out this Raptor audio cable, so it's 5-pin 0B to XLR for people who want to plug a shotgun directly into the Raptor, because there's expensive power in the Raptor. People forget about that, so you can actually power most mics that way too. And we already have the mini jack one, and then we're going to make another mini jack, which will actually be male instead of female for those little tiny Rode little mics that have the little TRS plug in the back. So that way you can just patch in directly. You won't have to pigtail another cable or an extension. It just goes some nice little things like that. Those are just what we call little drops. But as far as a schedule of things, I mean, we're kind of right now just trying to catch up on battery IO for Komodo, because we've just been ridiculously slammed with sales on that to the point where it's pretty far back ordered. And then the Raptor IO, of course. We're expanding on that too and adding some top bracing plates. A top plate will be coming out of metal that'll have Fisher on it, as well as Limos for the front, so you can power the monitor from the front of the plate, and have two Fisher 3s on the side, so you can put your trigger on either side. Things like that. And then of course we've still been working on the audio solution for that, but that's taking a lot longer than we were anticipating, because we want to do it right. But
yeah,
that's
important.
our test boards for that to check the quality of the preamps and all that good stuff. And then we're always building new stuff for Komodo as well. So we have some things coming out for that people who are battery I/O owners are going to love. Some of it is weird stuff like the DeWalt battery adapter, but there's also some other interesting things that were a little more mainstream stuff. And we eventually plan to put an audio module up for the Komodo as well. So it's all kind of contained in the back.
Yeah, I know there's always little things that you kind of run into with the I wouldn't call it odd design, but like Komodo's very compact, and so finding places to put things and is always a challenge. And like when I'm rigging like on robots and such, trying to keep the Komodo as tight as possible, I had you make me a little a pigtail that would come off so I could get it out of the way, because the red power cable comes way out.
Oh yeah.
And so that kind of flexibility. Another one that would be great is kind of a remote SDI that just have it physically mounted. I think you have similar, don't you? You have the
we have a little pigtail extension, which makes it easier. But we're also working on something else. Hopefully, maybe this summer it'll be out. That'll kind of get rid of this whole 12G SDI issue for people altogether on any
that would be
camera.
interesting.
I can't give specifics about it, but we're working with a company that's I would say is expert in that field. And in fact, one of the owners actually moved to New Hampshire in January, so it'll be a little easier for us to work with this big company, and collaborate a little bit more. But we do have. We came up with an idea that will absolutely make this process super easy. There's no unplugging things, and I think a lot of people are going to be very happy with it. We're trying to get it out to market as quick as we can, obviously, but these things take time because we have a pretty big pipeline of product ideas. Like our wireless trigger, for example, is still a priority, especially with Mobi operators and gimbal guys. But yeah, this 12G solution that we have is gonna, I think, and again, not just for red owners, but for across the board. Yeah, any 12G, it's gonna make things a lot easier for them. So yeah, and we've got about 270 plus products in a pipeline as well. That it's just, but there's just two. That's the thing that a lot of people don't realize is that there's a lot of stuff we can make, and we have a ton of ideas, but there's literally two of us doing all of this on this end, which makes it very difficult. Obviously, we've got a bigger facility now. We can, start to expand, but these things take time too to find, quality people that actually know what they're doing. Because, if you ask our customers, we're customer support and QC is like our biggest thing. Like we don't want anything to leave here that isn't, that we wouldn't want to use on our own cameras. And because I, used to shoot commercials and stuff all the time, I would hate to get something that I need in a pinch and then find out it doesn't work. So we probably overdo things a little bit with our QC, but these days and with the clients that we have, being that they're not just independents and one-man bands, we've got like Marvel Studios, we've got HBO, we've got a lot of big customers that are using our stuff on multi-million-dollar movies. So we can't really afford to just get a cable from China and pretend it's ours and not test it and put it out the door. So if we can find people that can do things to the level that we do, we can start to slowly having contractors and scale this thing up a lot, which is what we need to do, because right now we're not even doing a 1/100th of the business we could be doing. So, but that said, we want to make sure that we're doing it the same we're doing it now, like in the level of quality and support. So, yeah.
Kamel, is my audio any better now? I changed it. If not, then I will move it to a different audio. I love doing everything on the fly. It's the way we work around here. They're saying yours is fine, mine sucks.
Well, we have a high-tech iMac with a built-in microphone. So that's what we're using on this.
The array of microphones sounds like a studio quality.
Yeah.
Let's see. Luca wants to know, where can we buy Mutiny products in Europe or Italy?
Yes, we have CVP handles our technically European distribution. Also able, you can order direct. Yeah, for Europe, it's CVP.
Yeah, and to explain that a little bit better, before Brexit, obviously that whole situation, we had CVP had asked us a million times to be a dealer. We finally said yes, and we decided if we were going to give someone a dealership, that they would be exclusive in that area. Well, then, like literally 3 weeks later, boom, it's like, oh, okay, Brexit, whatever. So they are European deal. We're honoring our agreement with them. I don't know how much longer we have on it, but they're doing a great job. I mean, they order every month. They try to stock stuff. We try to get out to them as quick as possible. But the reality is we have a huge amount of customers that just buy direct from us. Yeah, actually, Luca just mentioned the Belgium store now. So that's the way to get around the whole tax issue and tariffs and stuff. So they seem to be doing a pretty good job of facilitating our Euro customers. So, but we still send a ton of DHL boxes out to, well, all over the world, but a lot of them to Europe. So.
And so if they order directly from you, they have to pay an additional fee that way? Is that the...
Yeah, it depends. I mean, yeah, it depends on the country. We use DHL because the end user is going to get it within 3 to 4 days, pretty much anywhere in the world. So it kind of bypasses that custom process, but there still could be a tariff or a fee on there that the customer would end up paying. So in certain countries, it could be ridiculously high. So that's like Singapore, for example. We have 88 as a dealer in Singapore because the customers we had direct that were buying stuff, they were paying an extra like $150 for something that only cost $150, which was just ridiculous. So 88 kind of resolves that problem for us. And then Japan, same issue. We have pretty high tariffs there too. But yeah, well, we're going to add some more worldwide dealers as long as they understand what we're doing and and all that. So because we do make a lot of very niche items. So
right.
And we usually set that up, which is the other issue. So.
And if anybody has any questions, just feel free to just ask them away. We'll get to them and chat about them. And I mean, just anything in general. It doesn't have to be about Mutiny. If Mike's a filmmaker and Avery's a
ninja.
Avery's that silent guy that you just basically you say, this is a problem, and he comes back and goes, solution.
I try to solve the problem with them.
Yeah.
I don't just throw you, hey, what do you take care of that? No.
He's the guy that I would say, here's a problem. And
yeah, but if it involves math, I definitely said it that way. Yeah. So, Scott, I don't know if you, I guess it's on your page, but I don't know if you made the new announcement yet. But
what's
if
that?
You want to do the honors? You want us to do it?
Oh, I mean, feel free. I mean, that looks interesting. Okay. Is there anything unique about that?
Yeah.
I feel
so way back in December, not December that just happened, but literally 2021. We had
the other December.
Yeah, the other December. From a long time ago. We had this, this idea of building an AirTag body cap for cameras, and we had come up with some prototypes of it and whatnot. And we were hanging out with Jared and Matt at GDU. Actually, it was I think over Zoom or something first. But anyway, we decided like, hey, you guys make these really cool lens caps that people love, body caps. So why don't we collaborate? And they loved the idea. So we decided to collaborate on this project. Over a year has passed, but we've just been all busy. They've been busy, we've been busy, and finally we're getting to put these out now. So this is a mashup product that is both GDU and Mutiny. And as you can see, the retaining cap goes on the bottom, so it's very discreet. What would you call this thread? Because it doesn't take that many turns to.
It's like a half turn or one turn.
Yeah, it's Yeah, it was meant to be. You don't have to rotate it a ton to open it.
Yeah, literally like 2.5 turns and it's in. Yeah, you just pop your Apple AirTag in there, and you now have a discrete cap that'll, be able to asset track your camera on set. You can easily take it out if you need to. If you don't need to, if you don't worry about disturbing anybody, or if the camera system, walks off with the camera, but it's your AirTag tied to your phone. Rental houses can obviously work with an insurance company and suggest that you use an AirTag with the cap to just give yourself a better chance of recovery if your camera ever does get stolen. And one of the reasons why it was like December 2021 is that I had a lot of friends that would get their cars broken into in LA and just have their cameras and stuff stolen. And it seemed to be like every week someone I know would have like $35,000 worth of camera gear stolen out of their car. They just go, they're shooting a commercial or whatever. They go to lunch and they come back and their whole windshield's blown out or their side window and their camera cases are gone. And yeah, sure, you could just throw an AirTag in there, but that's pretty easy to spot. Most people know what they are now. So I was talking with a few people, a friend of mine, Lenny, who's like 100 years old, and he's like, "Hey, why don't you put that in a cap?" I'm like, "Boy, Lenny, that's a great idea." And mind you, at the time, nobody was doing that. It was December 2021, so and we had thought we were gonna, get this out a long time ago. In fact, around the time of Cine Gear, when we were in LA, which Scott, you were there, we went to the Red Studios, we were talking with them about it. We had showed them the prototype. We thought we were going to launch around then, but we've just been tied up. They've been tied up, and it's finally out now. So, yeah, it's our first collaboration.
I mean, it looks like a custom lens cap. There's literally no way to tell, even looking at the back of it without my eyes in it so it'll focus. I mean, you can't really tell that unscrews. It just looks like a cool design.
Yeah.
And it's very nicely styled. It weighs nothing. Even with the AirTag, it weighs like a dense lens cap.
Well, that was the idea,
which is
incognito, basically, just so that it's a very stealthy cap, and you would never know that there's an AirTag in there.
And the truth is that this is probably the last place they're going to look, because they don't want to throw away anything of value. So they may open a Pelican or a bag and throw out all the garbage they think that, and then throw away the bag.
Exactly.
But it's on your lens cap.
Mm-hmm.
It's
yeah.
Going to be.
I mean, it's not a revolutionary product or anything now, because we've taken so long to, for us and GDU to get our stuff together. But and obviously the market, there's other things out there, but it's gonna save somebody, $1,000, $2,000, $10,000, whatever it is. It's worth it, the little peace of mind to have this solution where you're just, never gonna really see it, because as you said, the way it threads in, it just looks like a regular back. It doesn't look like there's anything in it, and it's not accessible from the front, so they're never gonna think, why would anyone put an AirTag inside the camera, basically, right? In the flange depth,
right.
That's what it is, so. And it can't come out by accident. There's no way that it can back thread out into it from like vibration or anything like that. So, and just like regular AirTags, we've tested this thing like halfway across the country with precision location. So it's not just GPS, and it works pretty great. Yep, speaker works, and we have it right now for Sony E-mount, for Canon RF, EF, and PL, and that's to start. There, we might have some other things coming down the line. But these are the first ones we put out because these seem to be the most popular right now. Like, I don't think we're going to do Nikon and all that, but you never know. Who knows? Yeah. You never know.
Where could someone purchase said lens cap?
You can get them from us or Global Dynamics directly. We each stock them on each coast. So if you're in LA, it probably makes sense for you to get them from GDU in LA. If you're on the East Coast, it probably makes sense to get them from us. But either way, we're working with each other on this to make sure that we have as much product as possible in both locations going forward. So, but
and this is a pure partnership on this item, right? This is straight everybody friends thing.
Yeah, it's we obviously respect Jared a lot and Matt over at GDU and Red. And they seem to like us, which is great. And we just work together pretty well. We have a lot of our ideas are very in tune with each other. Like we'll have an idea and they'll mention their idea, and it's like, wait a minute, guys, we were both talking about the same thing, And yeah, I think we'll see where it goes, but I think there's probably some future projects.
And they're available now?
They are available now. In fact, it just went live, like 15 minutes before this stream. So, yeah. And it's live with them as well.
Yep, on both websites right now, all of the various for RF, EF, E.
PL.
What was the other one?
Yep.
PL. Yeah, that other one. The one that no one uses.
And the name of it is HVT, and that stands for high value target. It's kind of a tactical name that we wanted to give it that kind of emphasize what GDU does and what we do with naming conventions so that's the name of it. HVT, high value target, available now. Get them while you can, because they're probably going to sell out, and it might be a couple of weeks till we get more. So.
And they're made of it's a durable plastic. It's not a
it's MJF, multi-jet fusion polymer. So it's very high impact. In fact, it's the same material that we use for like our nano, our battery, pretty much everything that we've made so far has been made of this material because it's super lightweight. It doesn't pick up any like RF or any kind of issues like that. So there's no issues with that. And it's just durable and it lasts. But people really appreciate it because of the lightweightness of it, especially like on a Raptor, the new product, the Raptor IO. It's a fraction of anybody else's battery mount weight-wise, and because we make in this material, allows us to make changes and anything we want rather quickly, without the same duration of time that would take most companies. It's not to say we won't make stuff out of metal in the future. In fact, we will, but for certain things, it makes sense for us to use this material, and it's got a great track record with us so far, and our customers, they really like it. But some things are more applicable to metal. So, don't be shocked if you see some metal products from us in the future.
Maury is asking if you have any plans to build accessories for Sony cameras.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you want to say about it, but our first focus was obviously Red. The Komodo was kind of like a gateway for a lot of people in the industry to get their first Red. We knew they would sell a ton of them, and because it's like such a modular system, there's so much you can do with it. The expandability of the system is pretty amazing because you could keep it as small as possible or expand it. So our thought was, well, let's focus on expansion on this camera because we know that all these big movies are going to be using it in TV shows, so this is going to be a huge hit. Luckily, we were right, and Raptor's kind of in the same boat. But as far as like Sony and Canon, absolutely, they're definitely on our radar. It's a little tougher to design products for those cameras just because they use a lot of different technology. Red was very smart and made this EXT 9-pin port, which basically allows you to expand out to anything: time code, gen lock, GPIO triggering, pretty much anything you would want to do. UART, everything's on there, so it allows you to do so much. Whereas Canon and Sony, they kind of have, they don't really open that stuff up except for like via like Wi-Fi, for example, or over USB-C. It's a little bit different. It's not as, and they try to make their cameras you can read this as a negative, but a little more complete, like for an end user, like they kind of have everything right there. Whereas, depending on how you look at a Komodo or Raptor, to me, it gives you more opportunity to build it whatever way you want, right? Because you can keep it super simple like a crash cam or just a little block, or you could build it into this, studio system, which is what we like and what I would have wished, I had as a filmmaker. And, Red, I think that's the new way going forward is just, build up this modularity. Canon kind of does it to a degree. I mean, we've been talking with Michael Braven at Canon about doing some, interesting projects with that. But again, their ecosystem's a little bit different, a little more locked off. So it's like, what clever thing can we add to it besides, you know, different ways of, you know, triggering or like tally and things like that. There's a lot of things we can do, but it's just prioritizing, because we do have this giant list of projects that we want to put out, and there's only 2 of us still. So it's like we could have a whole team just doing Canon and Sony and Red if we, you know, if we had that manpower, which again, we're going to have to get there at some point. But, you know, we've only been around for like 2 years, a year and a little bit over, a little under 2 years.
You've only been around since COVID.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, we've both been in the industry forever. I mean, he was with Kessler as the basically, you know, the guy who put out all the products that you love there. I was with Kessler, not as an engineer, but as an inventor with Avery, working together on projects. I've done stuff for Janus and a bunch of companies I'm not allowed to talk about, for camera accessories, a couple of high-speed companies, did camera stuff for them. So we have the experience, like especially combined, to, you know, solve a lot of these problems. But again, it's like we have to kind of focus on certain things, right? And we think that Komodo and Raptor right now, at least, you know, in the next couple months, makes the most sense to build out those ecosystems even more, because that's where our client base is for the most part. But yeah,
it's always interesting on the 9-pin on the back. I know it's a love-hate with everybody on the Komodo. It's like, why do I have to expand out to do everything on the Komodo? It's so you get a small Komodo. Komodo is designed to be a capable little camera by itself, but it can expand to the world.
Well, and to be fair, like if you look at our battery I/O for Komodo, I think the reason why it's so popular is because you get everything on that, and it's not really adding that much to the back of it. And you know, the 9-pin goes right into it, so it's not like there's this big giant tethered cable and it has to sit way back here on the back of your 15mm rods or anything. It's compact, just like the Raptor. It's literally just right there. I mean, there's a 9-pin here too, but that's pretty discreet, I think. Yeah, and then the Komodo battery. This is without a battery plate on it, mind you, but it's a thin profile. I mean, and this cable, once you have it installed, it doesn't really take up that much room. But you're getting time code, you're getting a voltage meter that doesn't break with firmware, gives you accurate reading. You got a trigger, you got a couple 2-pin power outs, another you know, Fisher 3 trigger with power. Got 4-pin control for small HE, and then a pass-through, which will allow you to still use whatever 9-pin accessory you want, which is, you know, yeah. So I actually like the EXT port. Oh, I see a question.
So, yeah.
What does it say? What's the button switch on the side of the Raptor expander do? You want to tell me?
So we have the switch is, so from our battery for Komodo, we have the AntiDrain Switch, which cuts power from the battery, because even when both cameras are off, they'll draw a small amount of current.
The Komodo will draw a lot of current. Yeah. I mean, you're going to kill a V mount like leaving it on there for 3 days. Even with everything off, it just will. It'll just pull.
Yeah, it's just a slow current draw. So camera on and AD on is anti-drain. So you can leave your battery built up. Good for documentary guys. Just people want to keep their rig built up when you're moving from location to location. The second one is our eFuse reset button. So our power on the fixtures and the 2 Lima ports are fused, but it's not digitally fused. Yeah, it's not your tube or glass fuses that you'd have to replace if there's an overcurrent.
None of that business.
Are you able to hear me when I center you guys? Are you able to hear me still?
I can hear you now.
Yeah, I didn't
but
hear
you. Couldn't hear me when I dropped down?
No, that I didn't hear.
Interesting. I didn't know that was muting me. Yeah, if you could hold it up just a little bit.
Okay.
Avery.
Get in there, Avery.
So, but that's
you just pop it off. Yeah, be easier.
So that's the anti-drain switch I was talking about.
C on is camera on,
Yeah.
AD on is anti-drain on. So just like the physical button on the camera, you know, up would be camera
Up
on.
is camera on,
Yeah.
And then that's the reset button for. And when the fuse is blown, that LED will light up red. So, and you don't have to actually power down the system. You can just reset it, and it will, well, either remove the overcurrent or the draw, and then reset it, and then it'll go back to working.
Yeah, and a lot of these e-fuses that you see on products, they're like literally set at like a really low number, like a 3 or like a 4.5. Ours is like a 6 or 5.
This is 6.
Yeah, it's pretty much a 6. So it's like it's giving enough overhead to power the core items that you need, like your Teradek and your small HD and everything else. But it's still going to obviously protect everything if you get past that 8. Because we've seen people like, we put a lot of ports on this, not because we expect someone to fill every port on here. It's for ergonomics and for where you want to place things, really. We have a lot of power outs more than anybody else, but we don't expect people. But in the business, people usually don't know how many amps something draws. So we gave a little bit of overhead with the e-fuse. We can explain to people, but until that happens, they'll figure it out eventually. It's not going to harm the camera, though. That's a great thing about our battery IO for Komodo and our Raptor IO is you're not going to mess up the camera at all. I mean, if anything happens, you toast a port on here or something like that. That's it. So you don't have to worry about any damage at all, which is nice.
And yeah, when that e-fuse actually triggers, it doesn't cut power to the camera. So if you're in the middle of a take, you won't lose. The camera won't lose power. And then on the battery plate, at least, there are the 2 D-taps. Those are separately fused.
They're fused in the plate.
In the battery plate, and that is one of the old style. But I actually think it's a thermal fuse, not a
the coarse thermal. So
yeah.
And you can hear me
then,
now, right?
Oh, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I was using the wrong button. Way to go, Scott.
And I was just going to say we have that anti-drain switch on the Komodo one as well. And on this thing, we've had a customer literally put voltage through the LEMO, put it as an input instead of an output. Camera perfectly safe, monitor safe, everything else. And what it did was it blew a little regulator in here instead. He sent it back. We swapped it out same day, shipped it back out. So that's kind of the level of what we're trying to do here is to make sure that people are still up and running. And if something does happen, we can turn it around because we build all this stuff in house. So it's not like you're going to have to send it to Europe or wait like 3 weeks or, for the most part.
What is the warranty period on your products?
What is the what?
Warranty period on your products.
Well, we technically don't have a written warranty, but if we made something bad, we're going to take care of you. If there's any kind of defect in what if we send you a cable and the connector pops off, which it's not going to, but say it did, we're going to replace it. We're going to take care of you. But we don't have anything formally written out. We probably could, but I mean, we're just going to, even if it's 2 years later and something, of ours fails, we're going to take care of it. Do you want us to say 90 days? We can if you want.
Right.
What happens on the 91 days? We're still going to square you away. So I should probably word that a little bit better on our site because people, we rarely get things sent back to us. So we don't really we never really had a policy except for to take care of our customers. It was just a given, and everyone who knows me or knows Avery knows we take care of people and we do it quickly, way faster than anybody else. So it hasn't really been a need to explain that. But for people who don't know us, yeah, we should probably put something on there that says, hey, we don't have a formal warranty time frame, but if we screwed up or we made something bad or something's incorrect, we're going to take care of you. If you purposely blow it up, and damage it, we'll take care of you. There'll be a fee to obviously because there's components or whatever, but we're going to make sure that you're up and running. So.
Great House said, thank you. Just had my first job with the new expander and the run start worked like a charm plus the time code, but I was afraid to do that switch.
Don't be afraid. If the camera's turned off, it's okay to turn that switch to anti-drain. If you want to leave your camera with the battery, that's its primary.
In fairness, on the job is not when you should try the switch the first time.
No, probably not. But, we could also probably articulate better on like make a pay. Like that's one thing we haven't done because we've just been slammed. We've been nonstop doing this stuff. The demand has just been way higher than we expected. But, you know, we're going to have our little studio back. We're going to start doing some videos and explaining stuff and showing people how to use stuff, like why you don't plug in 40 different power devices into a thing that has 40 ports, you know, things like that. You know, and like even for the weird things that we do, like the camera array boxes, because we've had some of our stuff on some of the biggest, you know, Marvel movies. We've built custom gear as well. You know, we'll probably have a video to explain that to people, why one of those boxes might make sense for a non-array, you know, like one of these, like Avery just pulled out. Like people are like, oh, I don't have an array, but yeah, you can power a lot of devices on this. It doesn't mean you should fill them all up, but if you have like a 20 amp or 15 amp supply, actually this does go up to 20, but we rated it at 15. You can do that. And we also have Fisher 3s on here, so you could use this as a mass triggering device and trigger, you know, up to that many cameras. You can also gang them together, and you could build a big, you know, a big rig of cameras that all fire at the same time. But
yeah, you got to think like Apollo 13. You have a power budget. You have X number of amps coming in. You can only use that number of amps going out. That's
right. Yeah. So it's kind of our job to help educate people on that stuff.
I think everybody is in awe of the new lens caps. There's a bunch of people out there. They're all quiet. Come on, let's hear some people. Let's. What do you think of the lens cap? What do you think of the Mutiny products? What do you think Mutiny should build next? Just because they have, you know, so much free time on their hands, you know, what should they be focusing on? I'd be interested in hearing what people have to say. It's so quiet over here on YouTube today.
Well, it is a Friday night. I mean,
but that's normal for me. Well, I mean, releasing products on Friday is a weird thing, but I mean, this is everybody's afternoon drive home. This is their, you know, welcome to the drive home with Scott. I mean, there's 28 people watching right now. Everyone's so quiet. Are you going to make cages?
Well, cages specifically, no. I think there's a lot of good cages out there. Like Bright Tangerine does a great job. GDU makes a great job of like add-on pieces. Will we make certain things that, you know, we're not going to make an entire cage, but like top plates and things like that kind of interface with what we make 100%, because it makes sense. We're building ecosystem. So it doesn't make sense for us to have this and we purposely put this little spot here for no reason. We're going to have bracing plates for that to attach to Raptor. There's a very good reason why we have that. There's a reason why we put Fisher 3s on the side for triggers, but also for a little jumper cable to go to our top plate. There's a reason for all this stuff. So yeah, we'll make like top plates. We have some ideas for a couple accessories that make it easier to rig your camera. But as far as like cages, no. And that's a tough market anyway. I mean, there's just so many people doing it. There's a lot of terrible ones out there, but there's some really good ones too. So it doesn't make sense. We're trying to like make new ideas and different things, like not jump into the, you know, the lens caps. Like I said, we did this back in 2021 is when we came up with this. Had like would we, you know, do this from scratch? I don't know. I mean, they're cool, but overall what we're trying to do is make like, you know, interesting changes in the business.
Yeah, and I mean, cages are extremely personal. I mean, every single person has a completely different use case, because I'll see what I think is the perfect cage, and then somebody will go, well, I can't mount this on it. I'm like, I would never mount that. But I mean, it's tough to solve all those problems.
Well, yeah. I mean, what if you're like a one-man band, but the other person's like shooting, you know, studio projects? They're going to have very different setups on that camera. I mean, you're not putting a Bolt 4K on your one-man band video and a 7-inch Cine 7.
Or if you're cool.
Yeah, you're not putting a Teradek RT on there, all kinds of stuff, but someone will. So what one cage can facilitate all of that? I don't know. I mean, Bright Tangerine, like I said, does a pretty good job, but even them, they can't solve this problem for everyone, and some people think they're too expensive. I mean, so you have to have a balance. So for us to jump in, if we ever did something like that, they're going to be expensive because they're going to be very well thought out. But there's people who are already doing a great job at that. So we might make some things, but not cages. That's not our business, really.
Eric says hello from hello Eric. Hope it's warmer than here. Negative 20 Celsius today with the wind in Toronto. Sorry. It's 4 degrees here Celsius. What is it there, Mike?
In Celsius? I'm not a Canadian anymore. I'm an American. So
well, you should be able to just like instantly adapt, right?
Yeah, supposedly. I guess that'd be like about what he said, almost negative 20, right? Something like that. Yeah.
No, you would be a lot less,
boat.
wouldn't you? Wouldn't you? I'm going to do math here.
Yeah, I'm not good at math.
Negative 26.
Oh, close enough.
Yeah. And he says hello to Miguel in Paris.
In Paris.
Kimmel says, Kamel, I always get it wrong. Just hate having multiple cables for one device. And I get that.
What do you mean?
Well, I think he's talking about like on the Komodo, you have one for power and you have one for the I/O. And I mean, you can't avoid it because that's literally how you have to provide the power and the accessories.
Yeah, if you don't like multiple cables, that's why you would get like an I/O. And maybe it's not a battery I/O, but maybe it's something as simple as this. Maybe you just need time code and camera control and whatnot. That's all in this little tiny box. This can sit and mount pretty much anywhere. And we have a lot of mounting solutions for that.
Right.
Yeah, I hate multiple cables hanging out too. That's why we make the stuff we do.
He meant for future EVF. Well, I mean, yeah, everybody's sad that Red kind of abandoned the Red ecosystem and went to the outside. But that was one of the biggest complaints that people had was, why do I have to buy everything Red? Why can't I buy elsewhere? And so it's like
if you make stuff, you would know like an EDF is a very expensive thing to make. The engineering time that goes into it, the quality control, the sourcing. I mean, there's a lot involved in that. Of course, Red could make one, but does it financially make any sense for them to do that when there's some other alternatives? I mean, Zacuto doesn't even make their own. I mean, that's farmed out. I mean, that's that company. I forget where they are, but it's rebranded essentially. I mean, it's a tough business. I mean, Alphatron used to make a cool EDF. I had one. I loved it. I don't think they make them anymore. That business is getting away because it's hard when everyone makes these amazing monitors that are 5-inch and 7-inch now that do everything that an EDF could do and more. And yeah, like old school guys like me used to shoot on film. You only had that option because the video system was going to Video Village, out of the tap. But you were looking through an optical viewfinder. And if you grew up that way, yeah, you're used to an EDF. But these young kids these days, they use monitors. So it's really hard as an EVF company that doesn't make monitors but makes EVFs to even want to be in that business when your audience has already been chopped, and quartered and sectioned off. It's such a fragmented business that I just don't see how you could really make money in that business. So you have to think like, do you want Red to make really cool cameras or do you want them to make an awesome EVF? Like I want all the money that they have going into development and firmware and cool features that can be unlocked and the next generation of cameras. Yeah. As far as accessories, do you want Red to be an accessory business or do you want them to make cool cameras?
Yep.
I mean, Canon doesn't
make the brain do everything that you can and then let everybody else make the rest of it. That way.
That's why there's companies like ours and others who make accessories because we can fill in the gap. So Red can focus on cameras. We can focus on those little tidbits. But EDF's that one, I wouldn't touch it with a 20-foot pole. It's just, you're just taking your money and throwing it in the garbage, I think, if you were to get into that business. So
one of these young whippersnappers, Luca, he wants a Hasselblad Prism that you can put on with the outrigger handle. That's something he wants to be able to adapt.
That's something to ask Victor, the inventor of that product. I mean, that's his baby. He thought of it first. I don't know if he plans on making another iteration of it, but if anyone would be the guy to make it, that'd be him. Like we wouldn't go in and say, hey, this thing's cool. Let's copy it and make it even better. I mean,
Yeah.
we'll reinvent some things, but they have to be a pretty drastic change. Like we
Yeah,
obviously
you know,
didn't invent the camera trigger, but we made a really tiny one that people love and that runs on regular headphone cable. So, you know, I'm not saying that we don't make things that are already made, but we try to put a new spin on, basically build a better mousetrap of whatever it is.
yeah, exactly.
So, but yeah, Victor, I forget his last name. Spacing on it. Viper gear or whatever. Yeah, he makes that. That'd be a question for him. I'm sure he would, you know, would love a new iteration of it if it's even possible. I don't know the physical geometry of how it lays out, but it might be that the optical center won't be right, you know.
Mikael says, Viper Hasselblad adapter lover. Kamel, what was your first question? I don't see another question that I didn't answer. So if you could re-ask it, I will get it answered. Great House says, what is the top of the red V-RAPTOR quarter 20 thread for?
Oh,
Handle?
you want to talk about that?
Sure. So it's not quarter 20. It's M5. We did that because we don't really want people using accessories on that. We made it for, well, coming in the future, we'll have.
Hold it up a little higher.
We'll have adapters that will essentially
Higher.
Right now, if you have a big battery, you're only holding on the V-mount and the V-mount wedge and the battery connectors. This will actually brace to the top of. Right now, we're doing 3. We've got just the bare Raptor top. We're doing one for the 8-sin top plate, and then the bright tangerine as well.
And there'll be more coming out after that. But those are the first 3 we're going to tackle because those seem to be the most popular. So I think that I hope that answers your question, Steve.
David says, for someone who wears glasses, I love EVFs, but monitors are pretty convenient. I'm with you, David. I had to use EVFs the first part of my career, and then when screens became very useful and bright and detailed, I'm like, I don't like EVFs anymore. I use screens a lot.
Avery actually has a prototype.
This is a second prototype.
Right.
So
this is to answer Stephen's question.
This is that bright tangerine plate. We've got that. It won't be purple on the final one, but just not screwing that in. But that'll brace there. So then you've got
Shark fin protection and whatnot.
Yeah, shark fin, and it's actually kind of captured both by the V-mount wedge and
surface area. Yeah. So dispersing the weight across the load across the top of the camera as well as on the V-mount. So
share the load. Yep. Let's see here. How does it work, guys? If we buy any viewfinder out there for the Raptor, will it work out when we are at 150 frames a second?
That's the other issue.
Project base. Yeah. I guess you can go 120 on project, can't you? On Raptor?
Yeah, for EVS, you're also dealing with optical elements as well. So not only are you a miniature monitor company, but you're also dealing with optics for, which is another pain in the butt. But as far as high speed for playback is what he's talking about, because when you're shooting it,
I think he's talking about like if you're going to be the guy who loves the high frame rate non slow motion, the live action feel. I think is what he's referring to. But I see like monitors are definitely in the 240 to 300 refresh rate now. So I would imagine we should be able to see EVFs in that area.
Yeah, I mean, you can play back a Phantom Flex, whatever too. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Yeah. It's just,
Timmy likes the caps.
Thanks, Tim.
The caps are pretty cool. It's upside down. Look at that.
Yeah, you got the logo upside.
So hidden and secretive. Showing it off. No one's saying anything.
That logo is a blending of both of our logos, essentially. Their atomic bomb and our gear. And Matt Tremblay at GDU actually designed that. From
logo and a lot of ID for the cap. Well, all the ID for the caps.
Right.
And then simple lockdown. Let's see what we got here. Are they allowed to make RMI cables? Is it possible to power and feed image to DSMC3 monitors or future EVFs via future Mutiny modules?
No, RMI is a no-go, and we're not going to touch it. In fact, we have obviously NDA with Red, and there's certain things you can do when you do product development. RMI is off the table. That's pretty much Red only, and whatever. Yeah, I can't really talk about it, but people think that RMI does a lot more than what it actually does. It's just like people used to talk about the Komodo pogos. They're like, how come I can't power a monitor on this and this and this? It's like, well,
right.
It doesn't do all
it's,
that.
That's like the data. Number one question.
Yeah, I mean, you could do triggering off here for sure. That's that, and basically,
the link adapter.
Yeah, the link adapter. So data.
It's,
I mean,
it's USB and a trigger.
Data and read it properly. I mean, it's not like a standard Ethernet, obviously, and they don't. That data isn't given out. I mean, you kind of have to figure that out. Even if you do development, if you apply to do a project for Red or Red approval, they're not just handing you like, hey, this is what's inside the camera. This, you kind of got to say, hey, I want to build a thing that does this, and they're like, okay, cool, and then you have to figure it out. Like, there's just not an open book. I mean, that's intellectual property that they own,
right?
So there's just not like a guidebook on what all these pogo pins and RMI pins do. So
I don't have a link adapter on Komodo. Could Komodo support Ethernet, a physical Ethernet connection?
Yeah, with the link adapter. Yep.
With the USB-C to USB-C to Ethernet adapter.
Right.
And is that something that you guys can't make, or I mean,
we could. It's just
we're not gonna. We would never get approval on it. Yeah, there's
right. Okay. I don't know what it would be cool if Ethernet appeared kind of like the V-RAPTOR with their
right.
new. Well, that's fiber, but I mean,
yeah,
I would totally dig some Ethernet.
Yeah, I mean, but also, I mean, there is camera control in the 9-pin. I mean, you do have UART in there, which you can break out. You just have to know what to do with it. Use the software development kit, kind of like what Small HD and Portkeys is doing with their software, to be able to know like how. Of course, Portkeys is doing it over Wi-Fi, which is a little different. And then Small HD is basically, everyone asks us all the time, can you guys make the Small HD camera control cable? What they don't understand is there's actually a chip in there inside the LEMO connector. And you cannot get that info. That is a custom-made chip. They will not provide that info. So, I mean, we could technically shorten the cable. We could probably make one, but it seems like a lot more headaches. You can introduce things like lag and all kinds. There's already a lot of lag and other problems already with those. So, but the main issue is that they used to issue a 4-pin, and then it was the 9-pin. So some people got a 4-pin edition of the cable. Some people got a 9-pin. They sell both now. But they only sell them in these ridiculously long lengths, too, like 30 inches or something, which is hilarious on a Komodo. But they do make an 18, I think. But what people want is like a 14-inch, or like a 16. I don't know why they don't make one, but we're probably not going to tackle that just because we already have our hands full with SDI cables and power connectors and all kinds of stuff. So,
which I definitely love the SDI cables. The Mutiny cables are great, especially when you can get them to the exact length that you want for your builds with angles on them. That's
yeah. Oh, and we'll have some new combat editions coming out next week, which he doesn't even know about yet. Yeah.
Tim says he's about to order a fleet of those lens caps for his camera bodies. Nice.
Well, let me know, Tim, ahead of time. Yeah.
Deplete the stock. Let's see. So sweet to see GDU and Mutiny collabs. Yeah, that's true. Great House says, also thank you for answering my question regarding the M5 connector, and thank you for designing future-proofing your product. I currently use all things Ignite Digi.
Nice.
Orange.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have something for that eventually. We just don't have one, the Digi Ignite Raptor plate. But obviously, there's enough people that have it that down the line we will, make a bracing plate for that. Because, again, nobody really makes bracing plates for these battery mounts. They just make a battery mount. People load all kinds of stuff off the back, and something's going to give eventually. So, I mean,
you don't have any IO with that.
Right.
And there are like 40 people out there. Come on, let's ask some questions. Don't be afraid. This is just Avery and Mike. You know, it's just a couple of guys hanging out.
We even got 12 million SDI questions. 12G. Amazed,
Right?
actually.
Is there a need to create an ARRI Mini LF or Alexa 35 back battery plate similar to the ones you've created for V-RAPTOR? Also, does the V-RAPTOR Expander work on the XL?
The XL already has those features in there. Actually, their audio is still the 5-pin 0B, which is interesting. But we have some audio solutions that will work with the XL as well as V-RAPTOR coming out. And our current cables will already handle XL as well. But as far as battery plates for Mini LF and Alexa 35, I think the issue with that is obviously for the Alexa 35 is the higher voltage. And a lot of people are looking at going to, what's it, B-mount now for batteries?
Right.
We could, but I think that a lot of the people who are setting those up, like the guys I know, their configurations are so different the way they lay it out. And a lot of them are offsetting with 15 millimeter, 19 millimeter rods to the battery mounts. So I think it'd be hard for us not having one of the cameras or using it on a regular basis to, concisely develop a product for it. I mean, if we got a bunch of feedback from Alexa 35 and Mini LF users, if they were like, hey, this is a problem, how can we fix it? No one's doing anything about it. We would definitely take a look into it for sure. And there's not enough rental houses in this area to grab either one of those. But we've kind of had our hands full with Raptor and Komodo and all the bits and pieces that go between those.
Very cool.
And a lot of our business lately is the 12G cables. People don't even have a red or been buying our cables. Like a lot of them. It's pretty interesting. I just assume that
it's a good
Komodo or something,
It's a good quality cable. I mean, it sucks. I am the first person. Well, I'm not the first person. I am the cheapest son of a gun on the planet, and believe me, it hurts every time you have to buy a quality item. But once you do, you buy it once, you cry once, and then that's it. You're done.
Oh, we know, especially with our battery mount, we've had people who bought 3 of a certain other one. And finally, they're just like, look, I'm not buying a 4th one. Let's just buy this one. It's going to be more money, but it's going to protect your camera. You're not going to toast out your camera or your accessories. Yeah, make it hurt once and be happy in the long run, especially in production. I don't know about you guys, but I used to shoot a lot of car commercials, beer, and toy commercials. If I ever took a gamble like that with a piece of hardware on set, I don't think I'd be coming back. I certainly wouldn't have had the reputation I had. I mean, that's all you have in this business is when you're showing up and you're the cam operator or you're an assistant, and if you don't have your stuff together, I mean, you're pretty much flagged in the business as a person who's just going to be a problem or doesn't do their homework. So we try to, build things like what we would want if we were showing up to those jobs. Like, I don't want something to fail. I don't want to. If I heard a bunch of rumors about a product that were bad, guess what? I'm not buying it. I'm not buying a Kia car because everyone I know has had a problem. But then
especially not an electric one.
I have a friend who's bought 3 Kias, and they've all been a problem. So, I mean, we can only do our best to educate and do our best.
The electric one does seem to be a little bit better, but I hear you. What's on the horizon for Raptor accessories after the I/O?
The top plate for sure. We're making our own top plate, as we mentioned. That'll be a metal top plate. It'll have triggers on both sides, meaning 2 Fisher 3s on each side. It'll have pass-through from our Raptor I/O to power it, and it'll have a LEMO 2-pin on the front to power monitor, things like that. Obviously the triggers will both have power in them too, but if someone wants to use one as power instead of as a trigger, they could have 2 outputs in the front of their camera or off to the edge. But the idea is to have it like on the, sorry to grab this for a second, is to have, our top plate, there'll be sorry, I got to center this. There'll be a Fisher 3 here and then one on the other side. Well, a little bit behind, yeah. And then in the front would be the 2-pin to power monitor. So there's that. Then there's the audio video module rather, that'll do. It has a freak show, custom made freak show HD inside, 12G reclocking DA. So there'll be that, and then there'll be XLR audio with phantom power, custom made preamps in it, and it'll have obviously gain and everything else in that. And we added a microphone, a mini jack in as well for people who just want to slap in something like simple, like a little Rode mic or whatever. But that project, like I said, has taken a long time because building a high quality preamp for Raptor is tough. Because it's not like a lot of cameras that are out there. It has some extra special needs for gain. So we've got a little ways to go with that with our audio engineer. But he's got a great track record. He's designed audio products for some of the best companies in the world. So we're working with, I think, one of the best guys in the world for audio on this product. We're not rushing it, because we want to do it right. I mean, people can put out products to be first, but that's definitely not us, because we want to do it right the first time. We don't want to have to make apologies or to issue a version 2 like 3 weeks later. We don't want to do that. We want to make sure that it's right. Hopefully it won't take a whole year to do it, because there'll probably be a new camera, but maybe not. This will be around for a while. So.
Favorite DSMC2 accessory? Still loving my Gemini here. You make anything good?
The only thing we really make for DSMC2 is our trigger, our little bolt-on trigger. We do make a 4-pin cable for it, but it'll only work with Jetpack and the V-Lock system, the V-Lock expander module, because otherwise you need what's called a Schmidt trigger, which basically this would have to have power in it to trigger. But if you have the Jetpack SDI, the other Jetpack, or the V-Lock expander module, this trigger will work with it with our 4-pin cable. That's the only thing we make for DSMC2 currently, because honestly, we feel it's a great camera system, but there's just so many people that are going to Raptor and Komodo that we just don't know if it makes sense to invest a lot into that architecture.
There's one product that somebody was making a 3D printed version of it. I don't want to rely on that, and it could just be the difficulty of the installation, but it was a printed part that allowed you to get the Wi-Fi connector out from inside DSMC2 to the outside. That's always my struggle on the DSMC2, is just getting signal from it. Is that not something you guys
I mean, that's actually something easy that we could do, but it sounds like somebody's already doing it, so why would we?
Well, they were only doing 3D printed, and I would much rather have a product built with this much high quality printing.
Well, I mean, there is a huge difference with this MJF that we use on our products than like a regular 3D printer. I mean, the printer that's used to do this is a HP MJF multi-jet fusion polymer printer. It literally costs like 250 G's.
I was looking up. It's 380 now. They went up.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So, when you spend that kind of money on something like that, you're going to get a high quality product. There's no home printer that would do anything remotely close to this.
No.
I mean, we'll prototype, right? He prototypes a lot with the regular 3D printer, like for reality.
Of course, that's what it's for, yeah.
And they're but that's nowhere near the impact resistance that this has, the resolution, it's nowhere even close.
No, so. It's for sure. I mean, when you pick up a home printed 3D part, you know it's PLA. You know what it feels like. This does not feel anything like that. This feels like, it feels like a cast plastic part. I mean, you could tell it's printed by ever so slightly.
We actually have a lot of people that think it's metal. Not on this product specifically, but we've had people ask what our battery I/O is made of. They're like, "What kind of metal is this?" They're like, "It's super strong, but it's super light."
and it's dense. It sounds funny. It doesn't sound like metal.
Yeah.
I mean, just that solid click that you get by mounting it, you can't do that with PLA. You would never get that kind of smoothness. It's definitely a good material. I like that.
We love it. Our customers seem to love it. So mean, we've had literally no complaints about it at all from anybody. I mean, even Panavision was using our little boxes, and they don't do anything with 3D anything. But for us, a tiny bit. But like, they fully endorsed this and bought a ton of these and put them out on productions. And they're looking at our Raptor IO. They've had it there, and we'll see what happens there. But yeah, we like it. Again, it doesn't mean we won't do some metal stuff down the line, but for a lot of the needs, like this array box, for example, it wouldn't even make sense for us to make this out of metal because you want it to be as light as possible because you're building a 9-camera system or less. And, our boxes used to be this big. Now they're this big. Our metal boxes that we had for arrays were literally that big. We got the exact same amount of ports in this and a trigger. So
it was like your little mini switch became a micro switch. I mean, you were able to shrink it down.
Yeah, exactly.
Drew says, just hopped on, excited to see the live stream. Someone doing side gigs while having my main job. It was a delight to have great customer service. Just a shout out. There you go.
Nice. Thank you.
It hurts worse to buy more and more and more. Well, that's true.
Absolutely.
It hurts to continuously buy. And it's not only that. It's not I'm buying $20 at a time. It's I bought $20. It failed on set and cost me a fortune. And that's why you buy once, cry once. And I've been a big proponent of that. It hurts every time, but yeah. Like the SDI cables.
Well, and somebody said I can't afford this. It's like, well, you can't afford not to, because you're going to end up there anyway in the long run, or faster than you think in most cases. I see that with tripods.
Back in my old engineering days, the phrase was the price of non-conformance. So what does it cost you to not conform to the minimum requirements to do what you need?
Right.
Cost you a fortune. Drew says, love my Mutiny IO stuff and all my GDU stuff.
Sweet. Thank you.
David says, well, I know with all the new cameras, I've been informing ACs on sets about and directing them to your page. So most who do buy the cables are ACs wanting to be prepared. Yep.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And make sure you tell them exactly. You don't just have to order what's on his page. Say, I want a 17.5 inch with 2 L. He'll build it.
Or if you're not familiar with our stuff, just ask around. We have a pretty big user base. So yeah, just say, hey, how do you like that Mutiny cable you have? Is it really worth the price? And see what they say.
One of the things is there a way, I don't know, to lock like on the SDI on the back, like if you're using like the angle bracket, is there a way to lock that, some kind of little clamp or anything to lock that cable in place so that it can't rotate? Because I've had that happen a few times on things where I can't run a giant rig. Mm-hmm. Do you have any thoughts?
There is a way, but a lot of that would depend on what mount you're using with it too. Like if you're using a different battery adapter, like that's a secret product.
Let me just drop you out.
I probably already showed it 5 times. But like some of them go down really low. Like ours kind of slopes up high so that you have full access to this. But so if we made a product for this to index it, basically, we could do that. I just don't know if it would work with every other product out there. But you're saying like you would like to stick out this way straight, for example.
Well, like on mine specifically, like I literally will run your power connector, your custom little angled power connector, and I run the angled SDI. But what happens is this thing is twisting and turning. It's wanting, because you want a little bit of flexibility on that. It wants to undo itself, which is bad for 12G SDI. So if there was like, I don't know what you could do.
Well, it shouldn't come undone.
You could just make
a locking bayonet. So I mean,
well, it is and it isn't.
Issue.
It's under pressure, but if you put enough turn on it, it'll loosen itself up. It's I mean, maybe the idea is just a slip-on BP that can do a lock. I don't know. It's just a thought. I don't know if anybody else has that problem, but it's definitely something I've experienced a couple of times, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah. Well, do you have one of our adjustable Komodo power cables or just the fixed angle?
I have.
I know,
You
were saying
built me a custom extension so that I could. It comes
Oh,
off
was it with
one
an
angle.
adjustable connector where you can rotate it the other way?
No,
Okay.
no, I don't believe so.
Because we do make adjustable keyway ones as well. So it can go out, it can exit out the other direction. Or
yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I think you asked me which way I needed it, and I said that way, and and that's what you made.
Okay. Yeah. We do that for Raptor too. We make adjustable Raptor power cables as well. In fact, I think we're the first people in the world to do that. I think we had that made specifically.
Custom made.
Yeah, custom made. So you can adjust the angle any way you want. Well,
that's pretty cool.
Eight different angles. Yeah.
Right. Tim is commenting on my my prop that's on fire here because it's the only thing it's allowed to be. Kimmel says, did see that SDIs, did they see SDIs on Alexa 35? Why on earth camera companies don't make SDI connectors user replaceable? It's hard to make custom 12G BNC connectors that can be exchanged from the outside. Or is it hard?
Why companies don't make SDI connectors user replaceable?
Well, so
I mean, you could add I mean, there's the little Amphenol right angle like extenders that you can use. That if you want to not, be touching it right to the camera, you can use those. But as far as actually removing the SDI module, is that what he means from the camera? Like make those replaceable?
The Alexa 35 does it. But so most of the issue with 12G SDI isn't the connector itself.
Right.
It's the driver behind it. That's what you're actually
the chip set.
What's getting fried. Yeah. So physically, if you damage the BNC connector on the Alexa, yeah, you can replace it. But if it actually is an electrical issue,
if it's the driver, then you're not being able to fix that. Yeah. Then you have to send it in. So.
Right. At least like my BNC is. Gotta shield my eyes.
Oh, I recognize that.
Yeah. It's a special color. And I love it. It's great. And it's the exact length that I need for my rigs.
That's what we do.
Still love my Monstro, and I know, Scott, you love your dragon. I do love my dragon. I do. I mean, before when selling the Dragon for what I would consider a reasonable price was doable, then it was weighing it. But now that the prices have calmed down, I'm just keeping it forever because I love Dragon.
It's a great camera. There's no reason to not use it. I mean,
beautiful camera.
I mean, when we say that we're not making accessories for DSMC2, it doesn't mean that's not a great camera, and it's not an obsolete camera. Yeah,
you're focusing on the current market. Yeah, I get it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and there's tons of DSMC2 users out there. I mean, there's certainly a business to be made doing that. We've just, again, we're two people. If we had a team of people, I would absolutely say, hey, look, there's so many DSMC2 users out there. Let's, focus on this solution, this fix, or people complain about this. How can we solve that? It's just that right now there's just so many Komodo people that need solutions and Raptor people.
Yeah. So. People have no idea, and literally no one in the industry has any idea because they won't share, but how many Komodos are out there? If you just glance at serial numbers, it would give you an idea. It's mind-boggling how many are out there.
And not just civilians either. I mean, you've got to look at military application, government applications. There's a lot that people have no idea about in regards to the amount of cameras out there and what they're being used for. Some people would be like, wow, I never have thought that you'd use that for, espionage, for example.
When you build a capable little camera like this that uses very little power and does so
the
much.
Raptor, to be fair, the Raptor is a small camera too. I mean,
it is very small.
It solves a lot of,
But it's not as quite as nice on the power. However, it can do a heck of a lot more too. So,
right, absolutely.
Yeah, Tim said he had that Wi-Fi mod on his DSMC2. Said it's a wedge piece that spaces out the outer plate but the real value would be if you could make a version that works with the side handle. That'd be interesting. Are there
Well,
any
someone wants to
things?
send us one, we can look at it.
Yeah. Are there things you can do now with DSMC3 that you couldn't do with DSMC2?
No, I mean, depends. I mean, if you look at Komodo global shutter. I mean, that alone for sports and for certain industries, especially like I was saying, government and other areas that you wouldn't think, global is why. I mean, that's why they're buying that, and obviously the physical compact size. But as far as what things you could do now with the DSM-3 that you couldn't do with the 2, I think the overall image quality wise, you might say that some of the DSMC2 cameras are a little better, but I think form factor. I think like on the Komodo, having a monitor built in sounds like a dumb thing, but this is very handy to have. And having camera control so that you can use other brands of monitors to control your camera, I think is a big thing, especially like Portkeys. That little monitor, I mean, not everyone loves it, but I mean, the fact that you can do that wirelessly and be like 40 feet away and control your camera is pretty cool. I don't think you could do that on a DSMC2. There's nothing I know of. I mean, you always had that big tether cable, that you had the pogo cable extension. Like, so if you were like a Movi operator, whenever I get a DSMC2 camera, I'd always have to make sure that they always had that extended cable. So I'd always have to have the monitor up here when I was operating. Now just wirelessly put it up there, or just simple, thin little 9-pin to 5-pin.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, for me, it's really about convenience and the ability to take it from where it is and build it bigger. DSMC2, you can kind of do that to a degree, but there really isn't a lot of third-party expansion and stuff like that.
I mean, the honest truth too, and I'm gonna fluff Mikhail here just a little bit.
I was going to say that too. Yeah.
Yeah, full control on DSMC2 is fantastic. The wireless is not great on the DSMC2, but it did everything you needed it to do. But Red Control and then Red Control Pro for DSMC3 is game changing. I hate that word. It's phenomenal. How about that?
I mean, people are using this as their monitor because there's almost no latency. It's crazy.
And now with face tracking in there. I mean, Mikhail.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, DSMC2 couldn't do that. And just from a hardware perspective, there's a lot less in this camera than there is in a DSMC2. I've taken apart plenty of epics, as you know.
I have not know that.
There's a lot going on in there, and it's really easy to, fry them, for example. Whereas this little guy, there's not a lot of parts in there. I mean, it's pretty simple. I mean, I could tear this thing down in probably 15 minutes and put it back together without ever having done it.
Remarkably more compact of a design. It's actually really well engineered inside. I only know from some other person taking it apart. I'm not allowed to take apart Reds anymore. It's a bad thing for me.
Yeah, you're banned from that.
Yeah. See, do you guys have any options on 12G SDI cables similar to the Nutric twist caps?
We could do Nutric twist caps. The reason why we haven't, because they do stick out further, the boot on them. And a lot of our customers don't like having a boot, even like even if you see our like Nemo 2 cables up, we usually don't put the rubber boot on them because people want that little bit of extra flex. Instead, what we use is marine grade shrink wrap, heat shrink tube instead. So that you still get that, ability for it to not pop out, but you get a lot more flexibility to it. I mean, we could do the Neutrik connectors, but we've really been focusing on the Amphenol for right angle because they're the best for 12G, like in Canary and Belden 12G straights. But if someone really wants the Neutrik ones, we do custom stuff. They can just it won't be an overnight thing. It won't be like you're getting this tomorrow, like our other. Like right now, if you order SDI cable from us, we have all this. We have bins of those connectors. We have giant spools of the cable.
I've seen it. It's quite hilarious. It's like going to Granger. It's just drawers and drawers of stuff.
Yeah. So like those, we can if you put in an order, say, hey, I need a custom 2.5-inch little female to male extender, we can make that in here, no problem. But if you want it with the Neutrik connector, like we have to order those connectors, and then build it. It just adds on to the time frame. But we can certainly do it. You just have to ask us, and it'll be a custom quote, obviously. But we can make anything out there that you really want. You have to let us know, but because we do a lot of custom. Right. Too much, probably.
Mikhail says, for what it's worth, Wooden Camera has a DSMC2 metal Wi-Fi side plate with external antenna. May void your warranty, though, as you need to remove the warranty sticker to install. Well, I mean, mine would go up in flames if I did that.
Yeah, see, that's the other issue with it is we can certainly make the product, but then it requires people opening their camera. Then that kind of points the liability towards us, right?
Right.
And people say, well, how come you don't have liability then with your battery mount system that's Reddit-proof? Well, because it's not going to toast out your camera. Simply opening that cover and not paying attention to those ribbon cables.
Right.
I mean, you know,
well, I wonder
you could kill it.
I wonder if people like CG, I don't think he's on here, but he does a lot of repairs on the DSMC ones. I wonder if he could just offer that swap out service. You just send
he would be a perfect person to do that because he's taking them apart anyway. So I just don't want to be in the business of taking other people's cameras apart unless it's our own, you know. Even that, I haven't taken ours apart yet because I'm not gonna. I promise. So
let's see here. Let's see. Are there ways to convert 5 pins to 3 pins or whatever my ACs use for remote start?
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, we just need the pin out. That's it. Or just say what camera you're trying to do it. You know, what two things are you trying to hook up together? And then I can figure it out. So
Joey says, I'm assuming that's a smash burger because Joey must be following my Raw Cuts cooking channel. Joey, how are you? Good to see you, Joey, before I end the live stream this time. Kimmel says, Alexa 35s have user replaceable SDI outputs in case they're fried or damaged. But is it a modular inside?
As far as I know, the driver is not in those modules. It's just the connector, the physical connector, if it gets damaged. I could be wrong, but as far as I know, that's not the case.
Yeah, the other the user interface and operating system for DSMC2 was also. I agree, and I also see the complete total opposite of that. The GUI on this is simple but fast. The DSMC2 is complicated, slow, but if you've used it forever, you love it. I get it. It's
muscle memory from there on. Yeah.
I got a friend of mine. He has Monstro. He had Helium before, and he just bought his Komodo. Now he wants to buy like 5 of them in a V-RAPTOR now because he loves the GUI, and he loves the simplicity of Komodo. He's excited. Tim says, I really loved all the user programmable buttons on the side, on the body of the side. Yeah, that's true. Those were cool. The soft buttons and everything, and monitor. Like the port keys monitor on Komodo a lot. It's perfect size and battery life. It is. It's a nice monitor unless you're old like me and you need 7 inches.
I'm old. I'd prefer 5. We have a Cine 7, but I'd prefer that new 5-inch.
Well, with 7-inch, I don't have to wear the old grandpa glasses.
Yeah.
But when I'm getting paid, I don't care. Stephen Greathouse has a great question. How do I get my wife today be attracted to me again? Should I get a bigger lens or try different filters? Avery, this has got to be for you.
Question for the single guy, yeah. Don't know.
I mean, it could just be simple as older. Maybe the 5-inch isn't doing it anymore. Maybe you need to go to a 7-inch. Wait, I'm thinking about lenses. Yeah.
Sigma 60 to 600.
Right. Yeah, the one. Yeah, you need something that extends outward when you zoom it.
Oh boy.
Thank you, Stephen, for the super chat there. Appreciate it. Tim says, got to hop off for a while, but not sure how long you fellas are going to be on, but I'll check if you're still going. Cool.
All right.
Hello, Kevin. We'll be ordering some SDI cables soon.
Sweet.
Yeah, we're using SDI cables from Mutiny on set next week, and boy, it's amazing how much mass is in those cables. A high quality cable.
Oh, that the ones we built really long ones? What's that, 100 feet or something?
Yes.
A couple of 50 meters and a couple.
Yes, those. Yeah. They're great.
Yeah.
They're so thick that they don't kink, which is nice. They kind of just want to fall when you wrap them back up. You know, when you're stretching them around your arm.
They're actually thin though, because those are that's the thinnest 12G cable you can, real 12G cable. Sorry, obviously there's cables out there that say they're 12G that aren't, but that Belden cable is the thinnest jacketed true 12G 75 ohm cable out there. But you can still get the big regular B and C cable that's 75 ohm. Those cables weigh 5 times as much.
I mean, it's funny because you were talking about your heat shrink. I mean, there is no give in that. That is solid.
Yeah, it's marine grade, so it's got the glue that comes out of it. It's adhesive based inside. So
a handle with integrated battery, maybe. I don't know. I had that on DSMC1 that lasted 7 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, the idea is great, but the reality is different. It's like having a Tesla car that isn't full of batteries and only has one battery instead. You're going to get a block, and that's it.
you get a passenger that's a battery, so you get to put them in. I like that. Wow, there's still lots of people connected, and only just a few people ask those questions. Here we go. We got one coming through. I mean, they're here for you. Avery has a ton of knowledge. You just got to hit that one spot that Avery's like, well, let me tell you. Christopher says, hello, Christopher. Why are the 2 pins on the Mutiny Komodo plate regulated to only 2 amps instead of 3 or 3.5? This is the deal breaker for an otherwise excellent looking option.
Well, do you want to answer it or do you want me to?
I can take it. Yeah, so we used just a regulator board in there, and that was, at the time we were looking at designing the product, what we could find that was available. We're looking at the option of making those ports unregulated, but that would be a new board design, and kind of not a custom order option, but it wouldn't be, well, we don't know if that'll become the standard, yeah.
And to be clear, the Fisher 3 is unregulated, so if you do need a power output, there's that in the D-taps. The D-taps will do 10 amps, so, I mean, I wouldn't do that, but you can. The thing about why those 2 pins are regulated too is if you do pull way too much, again, you're not going to hurt the camera at all. You're going to hurt that regulator board, which we can swap out. It's a lot less of a devastating, thing to have happen is to have this little tiny, board to fry up inside, but keep your camera, your monitor, everything else safe. So, there's a reason why we did, and it's one of the reasons why Red approved it too, because we weren't trying to max out, push things to the very edge, the limits. There's ones out there that'll do 3, but those ones all have problems. I mean, so it's, we pick our battles. We might do it unregulated, but we would probably do a week or 2 of testing, like full blast load pull testing on it before we decided that was a product, just to make sure, because ultimately our goal is to make sure your camera's protected and all the accessories you have hooked up to it are protected. So.
Let's see here.
And we found out that happens to be the case because the very few that have managed to pull a crazy amount of amps through those limos by hooking up 10 different splitters or whatever else, it's, their camera and everything was safe, and all they had to do was send it back to us. We swapped the board. It wasn't a big fee to do it, and then back off to the races again. So.
Kevin says, love my custom 3 to 7 pin Mutiny cable to power my Nucleus M monitor. Keeps my Ranger nice and clean.
That cable's a pain in the ass to make. But I'm glad you love it.
I hate tiny cables.
You notice we don't advertise that cable, and we don't list it on our website. That is a custom-only option for people like Kevin who really need to have it. We'll build it. It's expensive. It's not fun to make.
He says, oh, I know it was. That's funny. See, Adamus, sorry, there's a delay coming in for different ones. different question. I don't know. I was going to ask some other people, but you might know. Do you know? I have a friend who's looking to order 1,200 feet of 12 by 12 black truss. Do you know of a supplier that's a good, trusted supplier that could provide something like that?
Is it the triangular truss or is it quad truss, like four-sided?
I would have 12 by 12 is typically they would consider that quad because
You
12
never
inch
know.
would
I
be
mean,
the
it's
truck.
for like concert venue staging, or is it for just straight
Yeah,
up?
it's definitely for that. Yes.
Yeah. This is for you, Scott?
No, it's not. It's for a friend of mine.
Oh, okay. I will email you a couple places that I know that do it for big concerts and stuff like
Cool.
that. They're US based, so.
Got it. Christopher says Adama Shogun Connect is borderline at 2 amps. Don't need more than 3 amps.
Right. Yeah, I mean the only reason also is that when we didn't mention it is that those two pins, they're at 2 amp. This Fisher 3 obviously is unregulated. The D taps are not regulated, but on these 2 amps, the only thing that's really going to pull more than that for accessories is when you're doing like a lens calibration on a follow focus, for example, or you're trying to split that off with a splitter into other things, and you're trying to power multiple devices off a single port. I mean, each one is regulated at 2, so ideally
sustained too.
Yeah, it's sustained 2.
Yeah.
It actually goes a little higher. It can take a certain amount of spike.
3 peak, but yeah, that's not a sustained level.
Right.
You know,
So most things though are going to be well within that range. And again, if you know that they're not, if you know you're going to use a follow focus like an RT Motion, which could literally spike up to 7, even if it's for a split second, then use the unregulated ports on there for powering. Because why have everything shut down and then have to go back up again? So,
Kevin, thanking you because he knows just how difficult that cable was. Another question for Great House. What should I get my wife for Valentine's Day? Is Mutiny doing a Valentine's Day special? Basically, his wife apparently wants some Mutiny gear.
Steven, we can send you some swag for free. For sure. You're a good customer, so.
I heard through the grapevine, Stephen, that your wife was really, really interested in the new GDU the AirTag tracker, just so she could keep an eye on you where you are with your V-RAPTOR. She's looking out. Let's see. And when you order an AirTag lens cap, do you get the cool stickers too? What do you get with it?
Yeah, you get the Mutiny. Global Dynamics Mutiny mashup sticker that Matt Tremblay at GDU designed for us. So you get one of these with it for sure. And we're not going to sell these separate. This is really just for people who get the HVT high value target caps, AirTag caps. So
Matt's
there you go.
Matt's a genius designer. I love his work. Everything is so artful. Mr. Phil. Hello, Phil. How are you?
Hello, lads.
Are you? He was posting. I was 3 o'clock for me. He was posting it like in the middle of the night, posting a long thing on computers and like I'm up. I'm like, yeah, that's an interesting point. Thanks.
Oh, I was definitely up.
Well, you always making the donuts.
4:20 or something. Yeah, and I went to bed late.
Yeah, I've been really bad lately.
Got 2.5 hours on my system. And then
Phil, are you flying right now?
What?
Is Phil flying right now? You never know.
You know,
That one time he was chatting with us live from the helicopter was kind of epic.
It's a baller move.
It was. Who's got more questions? Why don't you talk a little for people showing up late? Why don't you talk a little bit about the HVT lens cap a little more from you and GDU? Yeah. All right.
Yes, these are new HVT lens caps collaborated with body caps. Collaborated with GDU, Matt Tremblay and Jared. These have a little secret compartment on the back. It's a little screw mount. And then your AirTag just pops in here. And technically, we say the right way to do it, but there's really not a right way, is the plastic side forward. There's a little kind of lip, you can't really see it,
There you go.
on there that actually Apple specs a keep up zone for the speaker for optimal performance, and that I guess
Conforms.
conforms to that. So this is our PL. We have EF, RF, and then Sony E mount.
They look very similar, the RF and E, but you can see they're slightly different sizes. Size wise, tried to make them as as small as possible, but also when Matt designed the layout of it, to make it easy to take off and put back on, and still look pretty cool. It's got these nice pockets in them, and then on our end, it was really Avery coming up with the idea of how the encapsulation works, so that you're not spinning it 5,000 times. You just a couple twists and it's in, and it's not going to vibrate free or anything like that. It's going to be safe inside your camera. So. And
it's really well thought out. It just goes together very quickly and then tight, and then literally you don't have any idea that is an AirTag in there. It's
right.
Slicker than, well, name your device.
Yeah. And like I said earlier, we first started this project back in December 2021. It's taken a very long time, not because we're not efficient, but we've just had so many projects, and like the Raptor thing, a lot of the array boxes and stuff. We were working on a lot of custom solutions for people, and then obviously Jared, Land, and Matt have been busy too. So it just finally it was like, hey, remember this project we've been working on? We've been testing over the year. We should probably finally put that out. So here we are.
And you can get them both from Mutiny and from GDU. They're both on both coasts. So,
both coasts, yeah. We're East Coast, they're West Coast. So,
and it is a joint collaboration. So there's no, I guess technically you could say, I'm voting for GDU, and see who wins. It's
it's both of us, so we're equal on it. Right. So hey, order it from them if you're closer. Order it from us if you're closer to us. Doesn't matter either way. Or if you have a GDU order that you're placing, just add it onto your list. Or if you're buying something from Mutiny, add it, whatever. Doesn't matter to us. Everyone wins. Especially you.
Gregory. Hello, Gregory. And thank you, Greg, for always being a good channel supporter. Also, Sutton, thank you for also. Mutiny is a channel supporter as well. I appreciate that.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Greg says, hi. That's awesome. That's pretty slick. Frank says, just ordered 4 caps. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Appreciate it.
And then let's see, Alex Thompson, are you going to be at NAB? I turned 30, so it's party time.
Nice. Yes, we are absolutely going to NAB. We think it'll be a bigger show than last year. I know a lot of people think NAB is kind of dead, but the reality is last year was a really good show. The turnout was, even with the restrictions, was pretty decent. Everyone got sick after, except for, I think, us. A lot of people did. But yeah, I think it's just a good networking thing. It's not really about going there necessarily to see gear, but to meet up with people, have some lunches, have some dinners,
networking.
Networking. Yeah. And for us, it's about making sure our customers are happy. If they have any, insight, if they're, curious about like, hey, have you guys thought about doing this? Like we like our customers. We like talking to people. We like solving problems. So for us, it's a good show to go to. We're also going to go to Cine LA. I think those two are our shows. Cine Atlanta, I mean, this last time wasn't so great, but it's been a really good show in the past, so that might still be on the list. But those are, yeah. And then we have, for Europe and stuff, we have companies like CVP and Red representing our products at the shows there. So, well, I would love to go to Amsterdam, IBC.
Yeah. Maybe 2023 is going to be your year.
See.
Well, and for you, it's another great place to get more ramen.
Right. Yes. But yes, Alex Thompson, if you're going, make sure we actually link up this time. Let's chat. and let's grab a brew or something and talk turkey.
Yeah, I'm going NAB this year. Last year I didn't do it. There were a lot of things going on I couldn't, but this year I've been planning for months now, and work is lining up beautifully for it. So it's all gonna fall into place. I'll be there, and I'll be at Cine Gear.
Nice.
I am interested in which lot they're going to get for Cine Gear though, because they still haven't said.
True, yeah, it hasn't been formally announced, has it?
It just says returning to the lot, or returning to a lot.
Hey, having it Red Studios, that'd be great.
Well, yeah, we've joked about that one.
Yeah.
We want to have like a Red Fest. I think that would be fantastic.
We'll probably make that happen. We might know somebody.
Yeah, I know. Greg says got to order a couple of Mutiny triggers too, and some caps, and
Excellent.
get a couple of cables, and actually I like the little breakout. I'm probably going to get one of those too, because that's too handy sometimes when you just need something small.
You mean our pigtail thing, the little?
Yeah, the little quad.
The Nano.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Nano and the Nano Plus. Yeah,
show that close.
Yeah, it's puny. This is the world's smallest port expander for Komodo and V-RAPTOR. And we have a Nano Plus, which has a little pigtail that adds an extra 9-pin so that you can pass through, which is super handy. But yeah, this thing's been great with gimbal operators and just people who want something that isn't, taking up your whole system. I will show what we were hiding for. Avery did make this cool little battery BP mount now, so we can now
cool.
And ours rotates, so you can rotate it whatever way you want the ports to go. Yeah,
you made it symmetrical. Nice, symmetry is good.
Yeah, and we do have a right angle mount, a flat mount, and a 15mm rod mount, which allows you to mount this pretty much anywhere, which is
pretty
terrific.
Slick. That's pretty slick.
Yeah, and then we have cables for that are adjustable angle or straight, right angle, fixed. We name it, we have it. So
very cool.
Paramount, great. Oh, cool.
You're reading ahead.
Yep, sorry.
Oh wait, they announced today back at Paramount. It's not on their website. I just looked. Looking forward to Cine Gear returning to the studio lot this year. Yeah, Convention Center was not the vibe. It sucked. Sucked so bad. Yeah, you need that vibe.
Better than nothing.
NAB is your convention center. Cine Gear, you need the lot.
For sure.
Riser similar to Kipper Tie Riza Pogo Pin lift, but also put a run stop on it. Product suggestion.
Well, a riser similar to the Kipper Tie, but with an RS port on it. Yeah, I don't know how that would work because you still got to get a cable to that RS, right? So I would need more information on what you're trying to do. But I mean, Kipper Tie, they're a great company. They probably have something cool that works anyway.
They make some great stuff for sure.
Yeah, they're a quality company.
Alex says, done deal. My wife is pushing me to go to NAB. You should, Greg.
Do it. Yeah, shouldn't have
the good thing with
a great show.
Yeah, NAB, the good thing is that it's such a longer show. You actually have enough time to be able to link up with all the different people that you need to see. Where Cine Gear, it's much shorter, and people are usually coming in for kind of the weekend kind of thing. And
For sure.
Yeah, back at Paramount. Boy, I'm really email. Yeah, interesting. 100% would go to Redfest. Yeah, I would totally be all down for that. Make a fool? No way! Just looked it up and it's true. Wow, I literally just went to their. I was gonna look it up before.
Refresh your cache, bro.
Yeah. But they had announced it on Instagram. Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the LA Expo.
Email.
They need to update their website quickly. Plus, all the dates are back to normal too, which I like.
Good.
Hey, Bart, how are you? How's everyone doing? Man, there's a lot of people. Who's got questions? Come on, we got the guys here from Mutiny. They can answer away. They're nonstop talking. I mean, if you ask them a question. What's been your biggest seller that you've been
Battery I/O for Komodo for
I was
sure.
gonna say the one you can't get.
that and cables. But battery I/O for Komodo is a giant killer. That thing just, I mean, I'm just blown away by how many people are buying this thing. I mean, I'm not really. I mean, it's a great product, but it reminds you of how many Komodos there are out there, because we've sold a lot of these things. Like, and it seems like every day there's like, sometimes like, we had like 4 yesterday or 3 yesterday. Like, just, you know, when it rains it pours, I guess. It's good. I'm not complaining. Just there's a back order because there's only so many. The real issue isn't us. It's actually getting Anton Bauer plates, which you think wouldn't be a hard thing to do, but they're. I mean, we buy like 25 or 20 something at a time, and they're gone. Like, we use them immediately, and then we put in an order for more, and you know, it just takes forever. So,
Right.
but as far as actual unit, I mean, we have the actual unit. We just don't have the plates. That's the problem. So it makes me think we should put out the dual adapter for it and just have people run on drill batteries.
The dual adapter. Let's see here.
And for people asking about that dual battery adapter, it is coming very soon. I know I keep saying it, but we actually are just Avery's just fine tuning the prototype. But it exists. Hopefully to market very soon. It sounds like a wacky, weird thing, but the reality is that if you're a documentary filmmaker or you're a travelogue filmmaker and you travel a lot, this thing can save your butt because they sell these batteries everywhere in the world. You can walk into a hardware store and power your camera. You can't say that for V-mount or gold mount. I mean, some cities just don't have them. They're either V-mount or gold mount, depending on what coast you're on, what rental house. Some of them are, you know, and it's just, it sounds like, again, a silly thing, but it is an absolute problem solver. And we've had, gosh, dozens of people ask when we're releasing this thing. So it'll come soon. Yeah. And luckily it uses the existing battery I/O for Komodo that, you know, that our customers already have. And we'll sell it as an upgrade option for people or as together, just, you know, the whole unit together. So our plan is to make as many options for this battery I/O as possible.
It is interesting that they listed it on Instagram, but it still said returning to studio. But then in the fine print, it says back at the Paramount. Scott,
look at their Photoshop skills on that thing. I mean, I probably just to do that.
They're on par with mine. My whole thing has been learning the new Photoshop, the not Photoshop.
Yeah, sending your post looked like it could have been posted on Netscape.
It probably is formatted still. It's backwards compatible with OS 9.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Okay, so Christopher says, Ryza raises PocoPen's 15.5 millimeters to clear their ND wheel when using the link adapter. Adding an RS port would give additional flexibility for RS button on the front of the camera. It sounds like something for them to make.
Yeah, that's it. That sounds like a Kipper type thing. And they might not want to do it, to be honest, because Bright Tangerine was kind of like the guys who first put a Fisher 3 on a rail. So it might be just like out of respect to them not to do that. Powering through pogos. I don't know. I mean,
I do appreciate respect in the industry because it's something that needs to return greatly to some places. PocoPen has both RS pins in addition to the USB-C pins used by the link adapter. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Bart says, I can't make an NAB because of schedule, but I think I'll be heading to Cine Gear. Perfect. Do it.
You win either way. Either show is great.
Yep. James says, on my ways to work, came by to say hi, Mutiny. It's the best.
Thanks, James.
Drew says, consider a version of the Komodo I/O that does vertical, but also V-mount to sit lower, i.e. like the advanced power module, but from a company like Mutiny. Sincerely, my OCD.
The issue with that is that because of the battery height, it would hang too low and it would actually block your SDI. Or it'll just be so high that it's, obstructs the screen and everything else. And depending on what top handle you use, it can be in the way. So
Yeah, it's just the SDI. You'd have to. There's possibilities for it.
We're working on stuff. We're never like I said, especially with the battery IO for Komodo Raptor IO, we're not done with this. We have a lot of add-on stuff that's coming for this. We have right now, obviously, a vertical adapter, but that doesn't mean it's going to be the only one. I mean, I'm not going to give away too much, but we have a lot coming for this. This is a good ecosystem to buy into. And it'll become more apparent the more we start releasing and rolling out these new add-ons for it. So, but you'll be happy.
Cool. And Great House has another question. Where should he take his wife for his upcoming 9-year anniversary? I hear the upper northeast is nice this time of year. I hear it's icy.
Well, it's negative 15 degrees tonight, so. But he can bring her up here if she wants.
Yeah, the northeast is nice. I mean, I would say, where has she not been? And go there. It's surprising the places you can find. Sometimes just find that cheap flight on the airline that's like, where can I go for $59 and go there. Also, what do I do if my zoom lens is done and work all the time? Viagra. But, oh, wait. Is that what you're referring to, that Great House?
Got to work it in. Those lenses sometimes stick in the cold, so.
Well, yeah, I mean, as usual, you'd have to warm things up a little bit.
Yeah.
Komodo has a screen? Yes, it does. Komodo does have a screen. This is not powered on because I'm a bad person and didn't bother to bring a battery. Let me go grab one. That's what I like to hear. Would you guys ever make an external screen that's cableless? I understand if it's not your wheelhouse.
Well, Porky's already does that.
It's not cableless, though. It's partially cableless.
I mean, you can mount a battery onto the back if you build a battery plate onto it, but it wirelessly can communicate with the camera. It'll do full control. Oh, you mean for video, too? Oh, IP video.
I'm assuming that's what he's saying. That's tough.
A whole other ballgame. Yeah, I mean, that's your iPhone. Or your Android.
I mean, it's literally Mikkel created Red, and Mikkel created that.
Red control. Yeah. That's the solution you're looking for. And I'm sure the next iPhone will be slightly bigger than this.
Yep. And Red control works like a champ.
Yeah, put your iPad Pro on there and use Red control. There you get your wireless monitor right there.
Yeah. Built right in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you won't see a monitor company trying to do it, because it's already done.
I do like the idea, and I hope Red can do it where if you just tap with 2 fingers, it will full screen to 1-to-1 pixels. That's what I want. Jared seemed to like that idea, so maybe it'll find its way. I hope.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
For us old guys, it'd be nice to be able to do that.
Focus check outside of
I mean the Great House also. I mean, the key to anything is 2 fingers. If you could tap the never mind.
We got it.
David, hello, David. With the IO battery sitting lower, how do you answer that when someone like myself uses a dedicated SDI into a freak show splitter? So I've never had to deal with the SDI on the back as much.
Yeah, well, it goes to 2 trains of thought. 3. Some people need to access it directly on the camera. Some people use like our little extender. Some people use the right angle adapter. And then some people are doing it right from their free show or whatever other device they have. So we're trying to make a product that kind of fits for the majority. That said, we are making some other things. That's why we made the vertical adapter in the first place. Again, that's not going to be the only one. So for people that really do want that vertical mode to go lower, we can do it, but there's going to have to be some compromises to go with it, or they're going to have to utilize one of these other ways, like with the little piggy extender right angle, for example, or something.
Patrick says negative 33 Celsius in Eastern Canada, which is
or that thing that I said that we're working on that will come out, that where you're not going to have to worry about unplugging SDI anymore. The little magic
thing.
Yes.
The thing. Bart says, I was kidding. I love my Komodo and on my Ronin 2 rig. The screen is not something I interact with. I go, come on, Bart. I wanted to show that screen off. I love the screen. Red Control app for the win, indeed. The Wells method. No, using pins on top of the Komodo, I assume there's an ability to transmit. No, there's not.
No.
There's no
Just
video
IP.
signal. Yeah.
And only via the red link adapter. You can't tap off of that as a equipment designer or builder. You're gonna cause some problems, and Red's not gonna like it, and we're not doing anything that Red doesn't want.
Well, and the red link adapter is not using SDI. It is using the built-in the streaming service.
Right.
So there it is. I mean, and we're getting so fast with chips nowadays that they could put that in there, and you could stream pretty quickly. Yeah. Does Komodo Poker? No, it does not yet. We just answered that. A lot of that with Komodo was there was just not enough of room. They wanted to keep it 4x4, and they couldn't squeeze much more into it then. I would assume if they were designing this thing today to release in a year, it probably could be smaller. They could put more in it. But I mean, this thing's been.
Yeah, it would probably have a 3G connector as well.
Right. Well, yeah, he definitely meant that. If he was doing it again, he might consider doing modules or have options at least for it.
Right.
But it's hindsight, 2020. Everybody's got it. Greg says, to the great folks at Mutiny, how about a breakout for additional keys to the Komodo from the top pins?
Well, you wouldn't get that from the Pogo anyway, but there is like I said, there's things we can't.
Maybe someday something might happen. That's what.
Something.
Maybe. In theory.
Some top secret, he doesn't even know about it. Like I said.
If I had time, I'd do it, but I'm dealing with something else. Ha.
Is that about the lens issue and the wife?
I would.
Oh.
No, he's dealing with something else. Let's see here, which is soon, right, Greg? Right. What's an area of growth for accessories you've considered that Red would support? Anything? Well, yeah. Okay, you've talked about. I'll just give it general answer there.
Yeah, I mean, we have a pretty large pipeline of things. It's just there's just two of us doing it all. Possibly collaborating with a couple other companies to do some of these things, is maybe on the horizon. But just a lot of stuff we just can't really talk about right now. But we have, as far as accessories for Komodo and Raptor, we have a boatload of them. That's our primary focus is those two cameras right now, until we start expanding and getting more people and whatnot. So, but finding really good people that know what they're doing and that are qualified and that love it as much as you do and will treat it the same way is very hard. So it's not going to be something we're going to figure out overnight.
Right. Indeed. Christopher says the link adapter breaks so many accessories, even Red's own handle. Really a shame that they didn't build USB-C port directly into the body. Is mandatory for connected workflows.
Well, they did on Raptor.
Hindsight. Yeah. And they had time to iron that stuff out.
This camera is this small for a reason. It'd be nice to have all kinds of stuff on here, XLR audio jacks, but then you're talking about a much bigger camera. And, if you wanted to strip it down and get it this size, you're not going to be able to do that. So this was designed specifically to just be a small cube that you could build off of. And if you look at it that way and realize what you can do with it, you can actually build a very comparable, setup with this if you know how to lay it out right and you have the right accessories. But you can also just keep it like this, which is what a lot of people want. So I kind of like that it doesn't have all those things. As far as the USB-C being built right onto it, that would take up a lot more space than people think, because it's where do you put it? You can't put it really here because then your SDI is going to be blocking it. You can't put it here because the SDI would be blocking it. You got fans all on the sides. You got a media door. You don't want to put it on the side of the camera because it's going to probably get knocked out. You probably want it to have a locking port, USB-C, like the Raptor has, so that it can actually be tied in, because USB-C is easy to pull out.
Yeah.
So where would you really put it on here that would make sense with this design? You'd probably have to have a bump out in here somewhere.
Yeah, you couldn't put it on the front because he literally said they couldn't put a button there.
Right. There's no space to do that. We know that because that's why we made our little button to solve that problem.
Yep.
So,
indeed.
Yeah, things seem easy, but then when you actually, like, you know, if you're an engineer or a fake engineer like me and you actually look at it, you're like, things are a lot more complicated than they seem. And that little tiny USB thing might have increased the price of that camera by $500, even though that board's only $5.
Right.
But how to engineer it, tie it in together, the software, everything else, you know, there's reasons why they make these decisions. Sometimes they're the wrong decision. Most of the time, it's what you can do at that time. Plus, then there's sourcing too. What if you had this perfect little board, the smallest one in the world, and then all of a sudden it's no longer available in a month? I mean, if you're selling 20,000 plus Komodos, you're going to be in trouble. You redesign the camera.
Right. Bart says, so is Raptor still using the streaming engine to send video to this? I don't believe so, no. It connects via Pogo, but then needs USB-C cable. That USB-C is not USB-C going to the small HD cable.
Yeah.
It is a custom use of a USB cable.
Right.
So it is, I believe that is SDI in there, is it? It's a live. It's not streamed, is it?
It's not, as far as I know, it's not streamed now.
Yeah, I thought that one was live.
But as a developer, you can't just go make that cable and tap out of it whenever you want. You have to obviously have a strict partnership with Red under NDA, and there's all kinds of stuff that is involved there. But most people don't have that ability to do that. Even if you're a great engineer, to figure it out, you'd need their cooperation on it, and they don't want people to do it for a reason. So,
right. Great House would like to know: do you have a hot swap cable for Red V-RAPTOR, or what hot swap solutions do you have?
Yeah, we can make a hot swap cable for Raptor. We can make it fixed angle or adjustable. Yeah, I mean, you just kind of have to tell us what you're looking for specifically, but we can go, you know, it could be a D tap, it could be a safe tap for hot swap. It could be, 2-pin. It really depends on what you're using with it. But we have like a little cable, a custom cable maker thing on our site. It's basically what ends you want, we can put it together, and then, but we can pretty much make anything. The issue with hot swap cables is that if you use it wrong and you leave 2 batteries plugged into it, you can add, you're putting voltage back into the battery that's way beyond what it is. People understand that camera batteries, when they go on a charger, it's like a little trickle charge. It's at a low voltage and it goes. But if you just force feed back like 12 volts into that full amperage, you're going to destroy the cells in that battery. You can do it for a couple of seconds, like what our DC swap cable right now, you can do that. But if you leave it on there, you're going to ruin your battery eventually, like quicker than you think, maybe within even like a minute or two. It's really just meant as a quick swap, but we can do it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's an important statement to make, and thank you for stating that, because people are very confused. Battery is pretty simple. I mean, electricity is pretty simple. It's like water, and one glass is is empty and the other one's full, and you connect them together, it's going to zoom and fill out both of them together.
Yeah, Stephen, our Raptor has the DC in.
That's true.
So you can technically power off of this, swap your battery. So that's another option there too. You could do a D tap or a safe tap into that DC in port, even though it's not technically up.
Yeah, so your battery is on here right now, right? It's dying. It's getting low. You slap in this cable and put it on the battery you're going to swap it with, the D tap or safe tap. You remove this battery, there's still power going to it from the other battery, you pop it on. The same way as our battery IO DC input hot swap works, same way.
Cool. Greg says,
but again, only for leave it on there for like 5 seconds max, when you do it.
Last minute delays, yeah, exactly. Brandon says, love my custom Ghost SDI cables. Yeah. Brandon says a lot of people don't realize that cameras are mostly heat sinks. They are today.
Especially the
They
Komodo and the
certainly are.
Raptor. I mean, if
Well, I mean,
you look right through this thing, it's a giant heat sink with fans in it. I mean, the actual sensor block is tiny, and the processing end is, there's
it's all
only
in the
a couple.
back. Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's all heat. I mean, it's how much data are you giving it, and what do you need with that data, and then you've got to dissipate the heat to collect the data, process the data, and output the data. So it adds up quick. Greggy says Komodo has proven to be a great TVC camera as well as a great ideal action skiing camera, even an awesome stop motion. It is, yes, it is. How versatile can be.
Honestly, when I was shooting car commercials constantly, like especially doing motion control in vehicles, I wish I had this thing. This would have saved me a major hassle. Putting an Alexa Classic in a little tiny Range Rover Evoque, not a lot of chance to move around. You can't get half the shots. Even like a C500 at the time was just way too big. This thing would have been a dream. I wish I had this. It would have been great. Plus, just the disposability factor. I know I shouldn't say that, but this is very inexpensive compared to a C500 or a Venice. So shooting some of the things that we used to do, where we would like flip a car and stuff, like I'd rather this go than a $30,000 plus camera. And plus, you
what it was built for
in those weird positions.
It was built to keep production on budget. When you blow up something accidentally. Dork, are you hi-fi or are you asking a question? No need to. So on Raptor, theoretically, there is an SDI feed somewhere on those pins.
Yeah, not available to developers.
Right. I don't think it's consumer usable. It's red and red authorized accessory manufacturers.
Specifically partners, yeah.
Right, well, very very specific partners too, because I'm sure that's part of the deal too. Is if you're going to go to small HD, you can't say we're going to small HD and everybody else. That's not fair. Yeah, you got to. Right. Great House says looking at Ratworks' ability to do custom.
And we can't really say anything about that.
Will be an option for Mutiny down the road. To custom color their products. I don't know, is that a question you?
Yeah, technically we can. It's just it'd have to be a custom order. Because technically you can dye MJF, but we've just stuck to the black color for now.
Yeah, if someone really wants it and they want to pay extra for it, it'd be a lot because it's a one-off basically, or a two. We probably have to do 2 or 3 of them to make it even worth it. Yeah, of course. I mean, you want it. What colors can they do?
It's not every Pantone color, but you've got a lot of options.
Like red or whatever, green. Yeah.
White.
White's a tough one.
Yeah, it would be tough.
Yeah. Oh, that one would be probably the hardest.
By the way, you definitely want the front to be a single piece with as few openings and weak points as possible. So trigger would be inadvisable. Yeah. I mean, it's where the blast of water hits. How about using a pair of 18650? That's not enough voltage for hot swap. You need 4 minimum, which is basically a nano battery.
Yeah, I mean, that camera or the Komodo will run from 7 to 11 volts.
Yeah.
So
Komodo could run on 2.
Right. So you could get one of those little tiny, who makes them? Not Anton Bauer, but there's little batteries you can get with D-taps on them where you could technically use that for a hot swap for Komodo.
Oh,
I mean, but,
the ones that are like there's like a BP that has one, a D-tap on it.
Yeah, and actually Blue Shade makes one too that has it. Yeah.
Right.
But it has to be those Sony BPs because they're actually 12 volts,
Right. Dork, just saying hi. Helium, 60 frames per second owner here. Love it. Yep. Robert Campbell. What's up, Robert? What's up? You going to Cine Gear, Rob?
Rob.
You got to be going to Cine Gear. I'll never see you, but you'll be there. You'll just like flow through. And Scott, your video is lagging pretty bad. Yeah, I don't know what it is, Bart. It's something when I'm doing these with StreamYard. I'll have to check into that. I'll have to try to do one when I don't need to have a professional conversation on it and test it out. I don't know what's going on with that. Okay, so Bart, the answer to that was on my video. The truth is, it's going to be a while, several months. Because the firmware guys back to Excel, they've got to focus. You can't take we'll say engineers. You can't take an engineer and have them work 5 minutes. Of course, my video drops out. Let's see. Wait for me to come back. There we go. You can't take an engineer, focus on this for a day, and then pull them over here for a day and back over here for a day. It's highly inefficient. So they had been working a lot on Excel and V-RAPTOR, and then they needed to give some love back to Komodo. So they spent a lot of time on it. They did run into that one issue with that one voltage alert, but the underlying problems are, it's not underlying problems, but to sort it is not simple. It's not a quick fix because of all the other things they put under the hood in that firmware. But they have to now give the attention to V-RAPTOR and Excel because they haven't had any time either. So as soon as they're done getting a bunch of features and stuff on Excel and V-RAPTOR, then they'll come back and round out the firmware 1.7. So understand, if the voltage thing bothers you, then don't run the beta firmware. I mean, literally. Otherwise, run it because it's solid. It's cosmetic red. That's it. Scott, are you still grabbing a Monstro at these good prices? I am not. I'm not. I'm going Super 35 V-RAPTOR. What?
Sure.
I mean, the prices are great. I'm not. I'm going for Super 35 V-RAPTOR.
Good choice.
Oh, sorry, Scott. Most of that answer was scrambled. Sorry. Basically, it's going to be many, many months, Bart, because they're focused on V-RAPTOR and Excel right now. Then they'll swing back and work on Komodo. But it's not going to be next month. It's not going to be the month after. Many, many months. So if it's a problem, don't run the firmware for you. Or don't run the beta firmware. Campbell says, yep, I'll be a City Gear. I've been getting into cigar props. You've been getting into props. I'm not allowed to say what that is, Rob. These horrible things are props that I've been destroying by burning them to make sure that they never, ever see the light of day again. Have you pick your brain? Yes. Anytime, Rob. Anytime. Bart says, appreciate the answer. You're most welcome. All right. Who's got questions? There's still a lot of people out here, like 35 people.
Nice.
Come on. Everybody fire off your questions at once. Keep Mike and Avery going. We've been going 2 hours and 17 minutes so far, which is pretty good.
Okay.
Rob says, Super 35 for the win. It's my favorite sensor for interviews. However, I've been loving shooting full frame. I mean, it's a tool, right? Tool for the job, always. My job's Super 35 is my win for sure. How's your gray there? You loving the gray setting?
It's been pretty good. I mean, we really haven't been able to shoot anything with it because we've been so slammed. But I would love to take this out to like ice castles or something and film something with it. It's beautiful.
Right?
I love it.
It is perfect.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll find some projects this summer. Hopefully, we can get some help around here so we can actually go shoot things, do stuff.
A nature beast.
I things all day.
Well, maybe you could bring in some birds.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of snowy owls and stuff up here and all kinds of cool stuff.
That'd be like that'll get you getting close. Bart Johnson says you'll have to swing by the East Coast. Seems we both love barbecue props and cameras. Yes, it's one of my favorite. I am going to do. I've been talking to the wife about doing another world tour through the U.S. again. She's all for it if I pay for it, budget. So yeah. Greg says 1.7 has been pretty solid even for a beta. Scott, anything you changed before release? No, it's solid. It's a rock solid firmware, except for that cosmetic problem. I don't even care about the cosmetics anymore. I mean, I'm usually running it with a monitor, and I can see voltage up there. Batteries. I mean, I can press on the back. I know when it's down to 1, it's time to start looking to swap anyway. The voltage is correct anyway. So when it starts getting down in the low 7s, it's time to swap it anyway. So I didn't change anything. Yeah, good. What if Mutiny created an Anton Bauer or V-mount charger that told the user its current life cycle? That'd be hard
That's
to
a
pull
business
from.
I don't think we'd want to get into. There's already so many battery companies and charger companies out there. It's tough to get right. There's a lot of firmware involved in that. And then there's the issue of if you make a charger for it to be agnostic to pretty much everything out there, because there's batteries that read SM bus data. There's batteries that do not. Gold mount altogether may not have any kind of data at all. You're purely reading voltage. And depending on the brand and what, if they put their own chip in there and stuff, you could get a variety of responses and answers. So there's no real way to solve that except for the manufacturer to, say, hey, if you charge this battery on our charger, this is the parameters that we can calculate. They can do it. I mean, half the stuff is it's SM bus, and if you put a little tiny Android or something in there, not Android, Arduino or something like that, there's things you could do to do that. I just think that cost-wise too, I mean, the battery market is really about making profit too. I mean, the batteries inside are
tough.
The simple cells. They're not, anybody can build a camera battery. I mean, not anybody, but most people could. It's pretty simple. But building a charger, they want to maximize the amount of money that they make on there because there's so many people making batteries, but there's not a lot of smart, intelligent V-mount and gold mount chargers out there that actually have diagnostics and display. Anton Bauer obviously used to make a really great charger. They still make a couple now, but if you notice, they're starting to strip down the features on them. I don't know why, but
they're trying to be price competitive. It's hard.
Yeah, and then there's
people are cheap.
That's theirs, but
Blue Shape will do it on theirs, but you got to pay for those features.
Right. Yeah. It's a business I personally wouldn't want to be in. I mean, I can't speak for him, but I'm assuming the same. Yeah.
Our team just got a RHINO and can't wait to play with it. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Good choice.
Yeah. If you're not shooting at least full frame, then you're not professional. I read that on a sticker. That's not a sticker.
You're saying that shooting on this makes me a professional versus the V-RAPTOR Super 35?
I will have you know that Apple themselves tells me you can shoot an entire motion picture on an iPhone, and if you pay a director enough, they will do it.
What if you shoot on a 1/4-inch sensor? The sensor on here is tiny, right?
It is. It is a missed opportunity, though, not allowing a GoPro to go in there.
I don't know. Oh, does yours have a glass window on it?
Yeah. Mine is the release.
It's extra wide.
Yeah.
4.0 to 1.
Mine's the release version. I had the pre-release for a while. I do like the mine's got the smaller sensor. Cover my eyes. There we go.
Mine's missing the record button.
Oh, yeah, yours is missing the paint too.
Everything.
I do love this thing. It's so fun to hand it to somebody because they expect it to weigh nothing.
It's a heavy piece of metal.
It's solid.
It weighs almost the same amount as, actually, it might be more than A7R, right? Pretty darn close.
About 1.5 pounds, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
What about a B-mount plate for Komodo?
We have a sample B-mount plate. I just don't know if the Komodo crowd will necessarily go into B-mount system. I could see that for V-RAPTOR for sure, but Komodo crowd, I'm not 100%. And there's, there's solutions that go on 50mm rails and stuff now that are B-mount that could power your Komodo. But as far as making a beam out direct, like onto like our battery IO for Komodo, I don't know. I mean, it would be a very big plate. I mean, the battery would just be huge. It would dwarf the camera. I mean, the camera would be dwarfed in comparison to those batteries.
And you've got that voltage.
And then
Right.
the voltage.
A lot of the beam
Voltage is
Right.
massively different. Komodo 4 times.
Right. So it might make more sense for Raptor to do that. Like I said, we've got the plate. We've looked at it. It hasn't been a huge priority, but we would probably down the line for our Raptor IO potentially do a beam out that mounts to this because that's more of that audience.
Just might be
limited on voltage
on battery options.
Yeah.
Does Mutiny make a wireless RS trigger?
We have
We
been.
have one in development.
We have one in development. It's been in development for a while. The prototype worked great. Trying to get it a little bit smaller, but it doesn't. It's not affected by Wi-Fi or anything like that, which is great. So you can use it in stadiums and stuff like that. So it'll be a huge hit. It's just again, it's resources. It's for the most part designed on the 9-pin end, which is just it basically sticks out of the camera just a little tiny bit, and then it just stops there. And then the button part uses a button cell, and you can mount that pretty much anywhere. And I can't talk about all the applications for that, but yeah, we're working on it.
Is that something that can work with DSMC2?
No, because that requires a Schmidt trigger, so it requires power also. And because you need to apply the power directly to the DSMC2 on the 4-pin via the Schmidt trigger, you would need like a little battery pack with it on there. We could do it, but I don't know if the audience is.
You don't know if the market is there? Yeah.
Like for this, it would be a slam dunk, like for Komodo.
I would probably be down for that. I don't know how much it would cost because that would. I mean, you're already doubling the cost just for 2 separate power systems and.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't require a big power system. I mean, it's literally just a little tiny 3.5 volt battery. Because I think 3 is too low. It has to be 3.5 for Schmidt. But anyway, yeah. So you'd have to have this little battery in there that basically sits in there. That's also, user replaceable. So that's the other issue is making it accessible. It has to fit on the camera in a discrete way that looks nice. It doesn't look like an appendage. Whereas Komodo, that one's slick. It looks like it was built for the camera. The little 9-pin dongle is tiny because the chip's literally inside the connector. It's but for DSMC2, I think it'd be a bigger solution, unfortunately.
Revar replicas are amazing. Yes, they are. And if anybody's looking for one, there's still a couple left. There's a link down below, but do not use the coupon code. It will not work. He has a few left, I think. He's wait until that's a real camera. At some point it will be.
Yeah.
I mean, shrinking down would be cool if there's a Revar 1 to 2 Komodo. It could be done. Probably costs exactly the same amount as the Raptor.
Mm-hmm.
It's not cheap. Not cheap. Brandon said, just bought the new body cap. Love the idea.
Thank you, Brandon. Appreciate it.
You only bought one, Brandon? You have more than one camera.
He has a lot of our cables, so he gets I just one.
He's a busy guy.
Yeah.
He is for sure. All right. You want to start wrapping up, or you want to keep going? What do you want?
Whatever you want to do. I'm good either way.
Let's put 10 minutes on the clock here. So if anybody has any last questions, get them in now. We'll get them answered.
Yeah.
But we're gonna put 10 minutes on, and then we'll wrap this up. Is you gonna start a timer? It's the new Komodo timer button. So there's still, there's good grief. There's like 45 people. More people joining. Get your questions in. Now's a good time.
Here's that little remote dongle for the wireless trigger dongle
Hold on,
for
let me switch it
Komodo.
alive or full.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, look at that.
Little tiny. It might even possibly be about that size. So, and a DSMC2 would literally be this big. It would be too big. So.
Right.
But this, yeah,
That's
it's just
pretty slick.
there'd be a cap on this, but that would just hang off the back. Or if you use our battery IO for Komodo or our Raptor IO, because we put that extra 9-pin pass-through port on it, you can use it like that. Or on the Raptor, you can use it. Yeah, and or even on our Nano Plus that has a pass-through, you can use it on that. So there's a lot of props that'll work with for our system.
Brendan says, you guys make great stuff. I bought 2. Ha! You went to them. There you go. Gundu. Hey, Gundu. Just saying hi. Yep. Bart says, humor me, Mutiny team. What cables do you offer? Well, there goes the 10 minutes.
That's that's 10 minutes. 2G SDI, 3G SDI, D-tap extenders, D-tap cables, safe tap cables, power cables for Komodo, Raptor, Airy, you name it, barrel, Limo 2-pin, anything to anything power, pretty much. Extenders for SDI cables, adapters for SDI cables, triggers of multiple types that can be used for Phantom Flex, can be used for obviously Komodo, Raptor, DSMC2 if you're using a jetpack. We build HDT lens caps, body caps for AirTag.
Oh, tell me about those. What are those?
Oh, there's this new cap that we did with GDU, co-branded on and co-worked on, and allows you to put an AirTag inside your camera.
Wait, what? You can put an AirTag in a lens cap?
Yeah, crazy. In a body cap.
Sounds so much like an ad.
What else? We make audio cables. We make time code cables. We make gen lock cables. We make arrays for multiple cameras. We make power splitters for multiple powering of cameras. We do time code splitters. We do gen lock splitters. We do freak show mounts. We do all kinds of stuff. I could keep going, I guess. We have cool T-shirts, like Bob said. What else?
Kevin's 3 to 7 pin cable.
Yeah, Kevin's 3 to 7 pin cable, exactly.
But rarely.
Rarely, yes. We can make nucleus cables. I was kind of joking. His one was a little harder to make, but we can definitely do nucleus power cables. Zacuto EVF power cables. What else? Port keys power cables. You name it. Custom SDI cables that are in paracord. We can actually do the triggers now with paracord on them too. Combat series. We haven't put them on the site yet, but maybe next week I will. So if you want a nice like color, cable to go to match your style of whatever you're trying to do, we can do that. Like Balcom has Balcom Blue, for example, for his cable. But imagine if you want his trigger cable also to be blue and his power cable to be blue. We can do all that. So those are some of the things that we do. Just some.
Right. And where did I see this? Where the comment. Where do you go? Greg, you wanted to know what did you say? The range on that wireless? You mentioned the stadium.
Well, for use in stadiums, meaning like I don't know how much. I used to shoot for NFL Films, and I filmed a lot of things in stadiums. And obviously, there's a ton of RF because you've got all the wireless walkies, you've got the Wi-Fi, you got everyone with cell phones, everything else. But there's a few bands that aren't really used anymore that have kind of been—they're not delisted, but just no one uses that RF space anymore. So we're talking like what was it, like 200 something megahertz, or even lower. 433, stuff like that.
Yeah, but it's just an
so
on-off triggers. You don't need a lot of bandwidth.
Hundreds and hundreds of feet, depending on how much bombardment you're getting. So
that wireless trigger I have a lot of interest in, says Bart. Yep, wireless triggers are awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Bob says you also sell cool T-shirts too.
We do. Hopefully
Bob says need to get one of those caps. You need to get multiple ones.
Yeah, Robert.
3 to 7. And just for the clear air, Mutiny and GDU did send over the caps for evaluation, but no money, no pay. This is just me connecting people to people. That's what I do. It's what I like doing. It's what we do here. So there is no. I'm not shilling. Well, I'm technically shilling because I like the product, but.
We're going to bill you. Just kidding. Yeah, we gave you exposure bucks. Come on.
Oh, yeah. Where's my exposure buck? There you go. Oh no. Oh man, those exposure bucks go fast. I got my exposure bucks.
You blew it all in one place. There you go.
You can get your exposure bucks from Mutiny too.
Yeah. We'll be bringing those to NAB and Cine here, by the way, and handing them out.
Right.
Yeah.
This would be funny. You just like walk around with a big wad of them. People will be like, what?
Yeah, they'll be running to us. And then we can show them our products. It's luring.
I like that it's only $1 because that's about what the exposure bucks is worth.
That's exactly what it's worth. Nothing.
Yeah. Bart says, I had no idea you made AirTag lens caps. I'll order those right away.
Awesome. Thanks, Bart.
Yep. David says, I need to switch to Apple now so I can use the sweet cap.
Yeah.
Apple?
Well, the Android really doesn't have a system like that, do they? Otherwise, we'd make one with GDU.
Tyler says, an audio solution for Komodo could be cool. I hear something about that. Similar to the A-Box with a preamp, smaller. What do you got to say about that, son?
A box with preamps. Yep, that's definitely in the horizon. We don't have a timeline for it, but it would basically mount on the back of our battery I/O system just to build it out as a complete system. So, like as a standalone, we won't do that because there's already like Beach Tech and other companies making those. But we won't have it integrates and is powered through the system.
Greg just gave you the $500,000 idea, which you probably already thought of, but the other side of the lens, so you could find your device, you could find your lens.
I don't know if I can show you that kind of stuff.
I mean,
it's on the radar. I'll put it that way.
That's pretty funny because literally, where the hell did I put that lens? You pull out your iDevice and find it.
Oh, you mean one of these?
What? Oh, it looks so familiar. What is that?
Yeah,
there you go.
Same encapsulation.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty ingenious, and it's perfect for people that have, say, lens sets that they're renting out.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of
it's
stuff.
on the map. That's it. That's the thing we're doing with GDU. We're just kind of slowly rolling these out for now, but there's more stuff coming.
Great House wants to know, how do I convince my wife that my camera build is cool? Show it to her. Show it to her.
Accessories.
Just take her and go. Just look up just a little bit. Look, there it is. Do a little dance with the camera. I mean, it's
have some exposure bucks sticking out of your back pocket when you're
right. Just start shredding the money out, just like Gundu says, make a client agency mouth cap, please.
Hey, we should do that.
That would have to be active noise canceling.
Active muzzle technology. Yeah.
Just have one that's like the Staples button. It's like, it's in the budget. It's in the budget. Amazon Tile is cross-platform tracker.
Oh, does Amazon buy Tile?
Did they buy Tile?
Huh, I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
Huh. Who
Interesting.
knew? Yeah, since AirTag.
Rob says, excited for the audio solution. As am I, Rob. As am I.
A lot of people.
Keep in mind, you'll want a way to identify each lens cap and make it the specific lens when you take it off.
Mm-hmm.
Good point. I would consider one of these things. They come in a multitude of colors, and they work.
We might have something a little more ingenious than that, but yeah.
Well, all right then. All right. And Greg says rental houses will thank you.
They will indeed.
All right, we've hit our 10 minutes, so
I just want to say one thing quick, Scott, real quick.
No, I was going to let you.
Just one more thing. I just want to thank Jared Land and Matt Tremblay to working on this with us, and I think that it's a nice collaboration, and we've obviously got a lot of feedback about it, and people seem to like it, but couldn't have done it without those guys. So, I mean, we could have, but I'm glad we had them involved in it, and
you
collaborate.
could have,
on
but
it.
you wouldn't want to.
It's great.
Yeah. They're Jared is great. Matt is stellar. He really is, and I do enjoy their they're just trying to advance the craft and open it up to the world and as best they can.
Sure.
So I'm going to give you just a couple of minutes to last speak. I'll put you up here and let you close it out. Then I'll drop you down and close out the show.
Yeah, that was kind of it. It's just to thank Jared and Matt. for working on us with this. And
Well, now you can do it
thank
in
all
full
our
screen.
customers for all the orders and the feedback and all the great things you've said, and passing on our info to people. And we look forward to putting out more products, and hopefully at a faster pace. And I don't know if there's anything you want to say.
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
Okay.
You didn't say anything, Avery.
Thank you, Scott.
Well, thank you for being transparent. Like you've been very open and transparent along the way of all the things that you're working on, and that is something that people do like to cling to is working with companies that get it and care and are trying to help you as much as they can. I mean, sure, you need to make money, which is why you pay for a quality product, but you're helping. You're trying to make everything better, take away worries, take away struggles, take away complaints, and that's thank you for being that kind of company, and thank you too for being you guys, because I've known you guys for a long time.
Oh, yeah. Thank
Good
you,
stuff.
Scott. Thanks for having us.
Yep, thank you. All right, I'm going to drop you down one real quick, and then I'll close this out. So that's it. Remember, you can become a channel member, like all of the wonderful people you've seen here, and super chats, tips, all those good things. Use B&H links down below if you'd like. You can use Amazon links, all that good stuff. If you want to support the channel, greatly appreciate it. It really does help. And yeah, have a wonderful day. I'm having pizza today. The New York pizza. It's on Raw Cuts. If you haven't seen that one, y'all should go check that one out. I got the New York slice. It's good. It's real good. So, as always, as I like to leave it, don't let your passions center around your life. Let your life center around your passions.